Good evening, everybody. This is the Picnic Table Chat Show, episode 6, I believe. I've actually forgotten at this exact point. But we're going to start with a little bit of an open mic night tonight. So if you want to jump on, you're more than welcome to. Just let me know and I shall put the invite in the chat link and you can just jump on. We'll have a little chat, have like 10-minute interview or something, whatever you really want. Yeah, you know how it works. So what's everyone been up to? I've had loads going on lately. I've got some new colonies. I was just talking about my Formica colony. I actually kept them, I kept them out of the stock that I'm selling, obviously, because on the website I've got my Formica. And I couldn't help myself. I've wanted a colony of Formica for ages now, and I couldn't help myself. So I decided to keep a colony. They're really active, really cool. They're definitely one of my favourite species at the moment. More than I expected that I've enjoyed them. They're just really active, like we were saying earlier, really inquisitive. Just a great species to watch, you know. So that's kind of what's been going on my end. I've had a few losses, as we know. My Myrmica rubida, my rubida passed away about a week ago. My queen died, which is a bit of a shame, but the workers are still going, so I'm carrying on feeding them and whatnot. I've had a bit of a move about in the ant corner as well, and I've now got 4 whole shelves completely free, so I'm going to be filling them again very soon. Risaf, did I get the fugax, however we pronounce it? I can't even remember. We went through this last week, I'm sure we did, and everyone told me how to pronounce it, and yeah, I haven't got them. Obviously, I've got them there to sell, but I haven't got them like in my own colony yet. I'm very, very tempted, but I'm also being very careful with what I do add, because I want to fill that leftover space really carefully with colonies that I'm, you know, going to treasure for a long time. Hello, Ant Warrior. Thanks for joining in. Okay, Risaf. I will look into it. How about that? I'll speak to the wife, basically. Who else have we got? We got Ants of Pembrokeshire. Hello, welcome. I don't think you've come in very often to the stream, so welcome and thanks for joining. We have Adam Wiggin. He said earlier that he usually catches the streams not live, but listens to them after. So a massive welcome to Adam. We've got Stacey. We've got Katrina. All Ants UK. Resaf. I'm just going through it. If I haven't said your name, I'm very sorry, but hello everybody and thank you very much for joining on this amazing night. What night is it? It's Sunday, Easter night. Has everyone had a good Easter? What's everyone been up to? Have you been eating tons of chocolate? I've been eating quite a bit of chocolate and I didn't even get any Easter eggs, but my kids did. Ha 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 ha. As soon as they turn their back, I'm like, noink, that's mine. No, I'm not really. I have had a little bit of theirs. And like, you know, if there's a leftover egg, that's mine. But yeah, it's been an alright Easter. We've had extra children here the whole weekend, and you know how things go. A bad Easter for you today. Why was it a bad Easter, Risaf? Well, you don't have to tell us if you don't want to, but if you want to go into that, you're more than welcome. Easter, you know, it's one of those things. It's just another day, really. It's just an excuse to eat chocolate. Here's something though. Someone asked me, what would happen if you gave your ant chocolate? And honestly, I don't know. But in the wild, obviously, if your ants get hold of chocolate, they're going to eat your chocolate. I don't know if it has a, you know, bad effect on the colony. I would have thought it probably doesn't. But I always advise just give them pure sugars in the form of honey or syrups or something along those lines. So it spurred a thought in my mind. What would happen if they had chocolate or something along those lines? I think Ants Canada did a video on it long time ago where he gave his ants a Mars bar. See that again. I don't know. I should have probably watched that episode, but I'm not going to. Oh no, your grandma died. That really sucks, Risaf. I am very sorry for you. My love goes out to you and your family. Yeah, that really sucks. So yeah, go and eat lots of chocolate as advised already by Ant Warrior. Oh no, he's stuffed with chocolate. But yeah, go eat lots of chocolate. It might, you know, might feel a little bit better. Also caught a couple of cool isopod species. Oh, Stacey, you're keeping isopods. That's really cool. Isopods are great, great pets. I've got quite a few little colonies that I keep, collect, and grow. I love them. I use the standard grade tropical ones in most of my terrariums just because they're really easy, really hardy, and they don't compete with the ants too much. But I do like all the different species. There's some really nice orange ones. In fact, there's some really nice green ones that are super, super cool, but they're really slow to grow. But yeah, there's some awesome species of isopods and things like that. Millipedes are another one that fascinate me. As you know, I love my millipedes. I've got 3 different species of millipedes in this tank. Bumblebees, the red tie flats, and the giant olives. And yeah, they're all really super cool. I love millipedes. I like all the different color variations on them. I'm just going to have to take my shirt off because I'm absolutely roasting. My God. It's hotter than hot in here right now. I've got the heat from the computer, the heat from the lights, and the heat from both the tropical tanks beside me, and it's absolutely roasting. Portugal, Scaber, yeah, nice. I'm not going to pronounce Latin. But yeah, no, I do like isopods. They're very cool. I like all the different variations you can get as well. Different color variations, different color looks to them. Have you seen the rubber ducky ones? They're pretty cool. But again, I think they've got quite a ferocious appetite for protein. So I try and avoid using them in with my ants and things. Yeah, skirted, yes. I know skirted isopods. Have you seen like they call them pill bugs, and they're not quite the same as they are a type of isopod. They're not quite millipede. It's confusing, but they look like a millipede, but they're more of an isopod. Ants of Pembrokeshire is saying like locust. Locusts are cool, but they are deadly to ant colonies. Let's be honest. They're not one that I've really kept. I had crickets, and one got out. It escaped under my bed and ran havoc in my bedroom for about a week. My wife was not happy with me, so that was the end of me having crickets, basically. I had a roach, quite a few roaches escape a few weeks back, actually. And I realised what it was one of the branches basically gone straight to an air hole, and they were just walking straight out. And the roaches were they were just walking out everywhere. It was a bit of a nightmare. Luckily, I did catch it, and I think I caught every single one. But it won't surprise me if I've got a roach or two kind of walking around the computer area. Because believe it or not, I keep my isopods and roaches and stuff underneath my bullet ant tank because it's quite warm in here generally. And yeah, it's just a great environment. And it doesn't take up the space on the ant shells. Yeah, locusts will kill an entire ant colony easily, decimate them. Millipedes are great, but they are a mega attraction for mites. Yes, they are. I found that when I kept them and other creepy crawlies and arachnids, yes, they are a massive attraction for mites. I don't know what it is. I mean, I know they have that symbiosis with some mites, but they do attract mites quite badly. Luckily, I've never actually had any problem with predatory mites. Do we call them? They're not predatory. They're the what do they call them? Parasitic mites. Sorry, there. I've never had an issue with them yet. Touch wood. Anything that's wooden. It could, at any time. We're all susceptible, we could say, but I haven't had any issues yet. Yeah, pre-kill ants of Pembrokeshire. I try and pre-kill everything. All these waxworms have been dipped in some boiling water before they've been cut open and whatnot. Roaches, again, I do the same. Occasionally, I'll give them something that's still wiggling, but I will cut it up depending on the colony. Sometimes they like that, little bit of movement and hunting to get them going as such. I noticed that about the formica, they really like a bit of movement in their prey still. And the bullet ants, they require live food as it is. But I always do it so that it's like pretty much on its last legs. I cut its head off, sort of thing. So it's still wiggling, but it's pretty much gone. Just reading the rest of these comments. Rubber duckies and panda one. Yeah, the pandas are so cool, Stacey. Very dairy cows as well, aren't they? Dairy cows are very cool. You want the ones red? Yeah, it's surprising. Like I know ants isopods, millipedes, everything. When you start looking into those more like specialist species, they get ridiculously priced, and they really, really pricey. But that's the way of the world, I suppose. It's a bit of a nightmare. Like it's like the atta colonies and things. They can reach hundreds of pounds. My bullet ants were not cheap. Quite a lot of my ants. Ants aren't cheap. My ants got knocked off the side overnight last night. Luckily, no escapes, and they seem okay. But you feel like a bad mum ant. No, Stacey, you're not a bad mum ant. We all make mistakes. Things happen. Like I said, I've rolled test tubes off before, and things happen. How did it get knocked off? Was it you, or was it a cat or something? Read down where they are, so now safely. Yeah, that's it. You learn from your mistakes and you solve your issues. That's the main thing. What species is it as well? That's quite important. That might be the end of them laying for quite a while. Some like Lacius would just be like, oh well, carry on. Which is why we love Lacius, let's be honest. Cats or dog, yeah, I thought you'd say that. It's quite common with cats. Cats, they brush up against things as they walk along and whatever. Bit of a nightmare, but it's one of those things you can't avoid. And it's Lacius N, so don't worry too much. They should be fine. They're a very hardy species. They can do a little bit of rolling about and knocking about, and they shouldn't be too bad. It is a bit, but it's one of them. Right, now my mealworm farm is compromised. Mealworm farm is comprised of only beetles, as I have fed all of the worms. Hopefully they'll produce some little wormies. Right, awesome, Ant Warrior. If you want any advice or just to talk about it, I do exactly the same. As you know, I've got a massive bioactive box, basically, where I put loads of beetles. All the excess beetles that live in this tank go into that big box. They lay their eggs. If I look at the bottom of the box, the whole bottom of it is filled with Morio worms, sorry, because they're the larger ones. Filled with Morio worms. When I feed them, the Morio worms come up exploding out of the ground and eating and stuff. So I've got like 2 or 3 levels where I can feed them. I feed them on the ground, and then I feed them slightly higher up so the beetles can get it themselves. But it works really well. What I do advise though is when you've got loads of worms in there, move the beetles into a new enclosure, because it will get to the point where the beetles will be eaten by the worms. Just several bad things could happen, So once you get loads of worms, or you're confident there's just loads of eggs, after a couple of months, say, move them into another box and let them start again in that one. Let those other worms eat and mature, and then use them however you need to use them. What I do is I empty them out and sieve them out through the soils and substrate. And then I'll freeze the whole lot basically and just use them as and when I need them. And then that substrate also is really fertile because it's been used for the laying and excrement and things like that. That is really great soil to use in any plants or bioactive terrariums. Also, when I do my colonies of dubia roaches, the Mario beetles and things like that, I always add in tons of springtails as well. It just helps keep that, cleanliness of the soil whilst everything's kind of mulching in it. I'm just going to go back through the chat because I know I missed a few there. I made the mistake of killing 300 worker colony by leaving them in the sun. Oh, that's painful, answered Pembrokeshire. That would be devastating. Honestly, I don't know what else to say. That would be devastating. Oh, hello, Antimatters. Thanks for coming in. My friend was playing VR and punched my mimica colony all over the collar. That is bad. Got stung all over my arm. That's really bad. They went after you instead. Covered and fed them honey and protein. They seem hungry for protein after all of that, so it's a good sign. Yeah, that's a good sign, Stacey. If they're still taking protein, I won't worry too much. Must have thought I punched them. Yeah, I don't advise punching an ant colony. 300 worker Polyacres Niger colony. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, it's because like obviously they just need lots of water and they won't have been overheating, and yeah, that sucks. I keep having a bit of a breakout in this tank in front of you. They're all busy right now, but since yesterday or even the day before, they've been slowly trickling out one by one. Not like a mass breakout, but they're just sort of, I keep spotting an ant or two on top of the tank. And it's like, oh dear, oh dear. I've checked all the barriers, can't work out where they're getting out. I've even put a barrier over the wire and they're still getting out. So I don't know. I need to work that one out, don't I? Like the barrier is still, it's a little bit battered, but it is still thick and should be more than effective. And as you can see, I barriered up the top of the wires as well. So like, I can't work out how they're getting out, but they are. And we had like other people's kids staying here over the weekend as well, and they like kept running out of the room. It was quite amusing. Ant Warrior, it would be amazing for you to start getting on your videos again. We miss your channel so much, buddy. But obviously, your school routine is more important, definitely. Ants of Pembrokeshire, I'm not going to be going to AntCon because I've got my own exhibition and stuff. It would make no sense to go to both, to be honest. So I'm not going to be going to AntCon. I shall be at the Great Ant exhibition, which is a reminder I better change to Doodad. Silly question, but when is the next nuptial flights for Formica species in the UK? I generally say in the UK it's around Mayish. Most of the colonies go between May and June, July sort of time. Antimatters, was that a shock? I'm sorry. But yeah, there's just no point. Yeah, Adam's saying you need to do it again, Ant Warrior. So there you go. You've been kind of voted in. You've got to do some videos again when you can, buddy. Definitely. Yeah, antimatters. I'm sorry, buddy. It's one of those things. Like, if it was closer, I probably would. But it's like it's a lot of traveling, a lot of money just to get there. Right? And you know what I mean. I just don't see the point in doing both. Well, to be honest, I don't know if I'd be able to do both. I've got to put on my one. That one definitely takes priority for me. So I'm not going to be going to AntCon. Only 50 minutes. That's fair. That's fair. See, if you're only 50 minutes, you should come to the Great Ant exhibition as well. It's only in Bristol, probably less far. I don't know. I'm not actually sure where Pembrokeshire is. But yeah, my one's in Bristol in end of August, 27th of August. So yeah, it's going to be a good day. Like, we've got all sorts going. That's, to be honest, I'm saving as much money as I can for that because there's some vendors there that I want to go and visit. It's going to be a great day. We've got some great guest speakers, loads of great vendors come in. We got content creators doing a meet and greet. We got exhibition style like things that you can go and look at. Other things are happening in other areas that you can go and watch and get involved with. There's going to be episodes of the picnic table like this. There's going to be so much going on throughout the day, from like 10 o'clock when the doors open till 4 o'clock when the doors shut. There's going to be stuff going on, if you know what I mean. It's going to be it's going to be busy. It's going to be very busy. It's going to be great. I didn't want it to be like the sort of show you'd come to, you'd have a look around, take you like half an hour, maybe an hour, you'd buy a few things and then be like, right, well, we're done. That it kind of annoys me when I've been to shows like that in the past. So I wanted to make like as much going on as possible. So yeah, it's going to be a fun-filled day, definitely. But obviously, you don't have to watch everything. Like you can kind of just do your own thing. But there'll be things going on all around the room in like every corner, on every wall, stuff outside as well. It's going to be awesome. Ant Warrior. I've managed to not look at my Tetramonium Queen for a week now. I might my next video. Yeah, definitely. How are they doing? If I remember correctly, they had a few workers. I can't remember. Cannot remember, to be honest. That's shameful of me. My brain isn't fully functioning, I will say. I am so tired at the minute. Having extra kids over for a whole weekend, like, wow, that takes out of me. Yeah, Stacey, that's it. It's going to be an awesome, like, I planned it to be a whole day event. Like, there's food and stuff happening, and I'm trying to like get a good list of all the local hotels. But to be honest, there's so many because it's like the middle of Bristol. There's so many hotels. Like, I might just leave you to it, but like, it's not hard to find one. You know what I mean? But there's so many hotels and local. I mean, and we're not actually. When I went to Bristol, I timed it. It's only like 40 minutes, half an hour walk from the city centre. So if you're there beforehand or after or whatever, go into the city centre, have a little bit of a party. I don't know. City life kind of blows my mind still. It's the day after payday. I did not realise that, but that's very helpful. Very helpful to everyone, including me. I'm thinking at 1/2 we're going to move on to a little quiz, just because why not? It doesn't look like anyone's going to jump on for the open mic night tonight, which is absolutely fine. It does happen sometimes. Not everyone's comfortable speaking on camera or even has anything to talk about, really, or feels that they have anything to talk about, because everyone's got a story, as I keep showing you with my random interviews with random people. So yeah, at 1/2 we'll have a little bit of a quiz, and then we'll have a duck race. How about that? Or should we start with a duck race and then have the quiz? You let me know what you want. And whilst I'm here, I may as well mention as well, Mantis NI. You remember Mantis NI from a few weeks back when I interviewed him on his group, and he's going to be doing a live tomorrow and things like that. He's doing a giveaway. Go on Mantis NI website. You can get tickets. Right, I think it's £2 a ticket, and then you get entered into the giveaway. There's loads of prizes, including tickets to the exhibition. There's prizes from the Ant Lady, just loads of prizes. You know what I mean? So go have a look at that. It is on the Ants on the Rock community group page as well. I am setting up a duck race because I see the call for duck races. All Ants UK, you can do, buddy. I think we're going to have a quick duck race first, though, I think. Just coming up with it now. So we've got Antimatter's at 6, Resaf number 7, Stacey number 3, All Ants UK number 4. Currently, we have 8 people in the chat, so I'm going to put in 8 ducks. My stomach's just started rumbling. How about that? Right, 8 ducks. Katrina is number 7. So we've got a couple of ducks left. Oh yeah, Katrina's number 2. Yeah, so we got Antimatter's at 6, Resaf 7, Stacey 3, All Ants UK 4, Katrina 2, Ants of Pembrokeshire 8. Right, so let's have a little look at our ducks. We have Professor Duck. He looks pretty nifty tonight. We have King Duck. Purple duck, Dr. Duck. Dr. Duck is knackered. He's just come off a long shift. So we'll see how he does. Builder duck, or is that minor duck? I don't know. Clown duck, plain duck, strawberry hat duck. Bit of a weird one. He just likes strawberry hats. But without further ado, let's get this race underway. There we go, coming down for the last minute now. Number 4 pushing up. I expect it's lagging as well, isn't it? You can see the signal warning. Dr. Duck, number 4, holding first place, just dropping back past number 8. Number 3 coming up on the inside, going for that last final big push. Last 20 seconds. Number 8 is holding it. And it's all gone to pot. We don't know who's going to win. And it was number 3. Well done. Number 3. Well done. I'm just sending some links out. There we go. That was a good bit of fun. He's going to the flappers. I'm just reading back your comments that I missed. Just rewatched the unboxing video. Still have 4 workers, but now they have a huge power brood. Awesome. Yeah. See, I've got a colony of flappers that have a few workers now. It's absolutely awesome because I was waiting for a long time for them to get workers after my last colony passed away, which sucked. But yeah, I'm hoping they do all right. I'm going to be putting them into a natural formicarium, I believe, because they do love digging, don't they? I believe we're going to have some people come on and chat with us in a minute, so I'm just staying on the open mic night for now, and then we'll move on to the quiz afterwards. We might have a very interesting guest come on in a minute. Couple of interesting guests. Also, Tom, they love not coming up. Yeah, I know, Risaf. They spend most of their time underground, really, don't they? So that was one of my thinkings with them. Like, natural formicarium would be sort of spot on. Sort of like the T-shaped one that I've got for my Nigers would be good because I can see all the tunnels and things like that. Get the aphids out of wild one. Yeah, aphids are really good for them. Katrina, wait a minute. I'm just waiting to see what's happening. I might have a guest coming on in a second. We're just waiting to see what's happening, but thank you for the offer. Excuse me for coughing. Yeah, aphids are really great for most ant colonies. Actually, will use aphids, but to be honest, they're quite hard to like just get hold of, let alone keep alive for an extended period of time. Or in my experience, they are. I've tried it several times with the aphids, and it's just not happened. So we've just dropped down from 10 viewers to 3. I don't know how that happened. Katrina, you're never a last resort. Last resort is me chatting to myself for a couple of hours. I have 2 flowers and 1 in a natural. 120 workers had aphids. Only 1 queens, 2 queens, only 50 no more aphids. Underground one. Yeah, right. So it's one of them, isn't it? Like I say, aphids are really cool, but it's just about trying to get hold of them. So we've got All Ants UK joining us on stream at the moment. So I'm just going to do that. You want to say hello, All Ants UK?
Hello.
How's things? You all right?
Yeah.
Brilliant. What did you want to chat about? Want to tell us about some of your ants?
I've got some new colonies.
Yeah, so what have you got, buddy?
Quite recently, I got a nice colony of Mesopivorium.
Yeah.
They're like this rare species of Messer, apparently.
Nice.
And I got a Caribou Diversa Queen.
Oh, awesome.
And she's nice.
Absolutely awesome.
I've got her in.
Sorry, go on.
I've got her in the fanning stage at the minute. I literally have just tried to stop myself from looking at her for like weeks now.
Yeah. It's a hard one, especially with such an awesome species.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't wait till those super majors come.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, definitely. We've actually got another person joining us in the stream as well. I want to give a massive welcome, because he's been out of the community for a while, a massive welcome back to the colonialist.
Cheers, man. How you been getting on? Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello? Hello? It's the mic.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
There we go. I don't know what was happening there.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening either.
How's everyone been?
Good.
It's good to catch up on the stream, man. It's been a while on my end. Unfortunately, I've been away a lot working, so.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh. Hopefully he'll come back.
Yeah, hopefully.
There we go. I'm back. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Brilliant. I apologise for that. My main internet's just kicked me off completely and shut down. I don't know why.
Nightmare.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it does this occasionally. Anyways, how are you, JB? It's been a long time.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I've just been incredibly busy with work, and unfortunately, traveling here, there, and everywhere. So it's nice to get a day at home.
So how are your ants? We were talking a little bit earlier, but how are your ants doing at the moment, buddy?
I wouldn't say they're doing great, but they are surviving. So some colonies are still doing pretty well. There's a lot of sort of care work and reconfiguring that needs to be done. So we will get there.
Bit of a nightmare.
Yeah. I sorted out the Solenopsis today. So while I was away, which was about 3 weeks ago, they escaped, and each individual container had to be disconnected and sort of sealed up to stop the escape because they were just
Yeah,
getting everywhere. So unfortunately, they had to wait for me to return, and I've just spent the day sorting out a new setup for them, and I've got a massive Antboy UK nest
nice.
that's
Yeah,
mounted, so it looks pretty sweet. I've been doing a bit of filming on that, which is what I was doing, and until I sort of messaged you to check if you were still online.
yeah,
So I've done a little cut of them feeding.
nice. So we can expect the video to come out soon.
Yeah, I'm definitely working on one. So I just need to
Brilliant.
get a bit more footage and see what happens.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant, man. What other colonies do you currently have?
At the moment,
Yeah.
so I've got the Polyacres dives still going strong.
Yeah, brilliant.
Solenopsis geminata, they're going good. I've got Meso barbarus, Meso wasmani, Meso arenarius.
Wow.
I've got the Nico Camphanotus nicobrensis, which is still going. Obviously the acromimics, they're still going strong. Sadly, the Atta Queen didn't make it while I was away. I just wasn't there to be able to control the environment enough, and they didn't make it, sadly.
Yeah, well, they're such a sensitive species, you know, they need almost constant checking on, don't they?
Yeah.
It's definitely a big loss, but it could have been worse.
Yeah, definitely could have. I mean, I'm going to give it another go, so hopefully I'll have another colony on the go soon.
Yeah, okay, yeah. What are you going to be looking to get next? Have you got any kind of interesting species in mind?
Not really. I'm going to focus on what I have at the moment.
Okay, yeah.
I've got a couple of other species in there that I haven't mentioned, so I'll wait for them and see how they go and do a little video on them.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes complete sense. My connection. So I'm just reading what's going on with my internet, and it's saying my connection has dropped. And I have no idea. Replace my router. My router's only a couple of weeks old. Sure. Well, that's not good, is it? I'm just going to say goodbye, Risaf. Thank you for joining, buddy. Just following through on the chat as I'm trying to fix the computer and get everything going back as well. Bit of a nightmare all round.
So what's been happening since I've been gone? I actually haven't had a chance to catch up with the community much. So
well, it's been pretty crazy, to be honest. Lots is happening. Obviously, we've got AntCon coming up. We've got the Great Ant Exhibition coming up. Loads in, like, the general community just seems to be exploding with new ideas, and you know, it's a good time for ant keeping, I'd say.
That's what I like to hear. I do love innovation and ant keeping.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's it. I mean, I'm really hoping. This is kind of me blowing my own horn a bit, but I'm really hoping that exhibition will kind of bring us to the stage of the same, like, sort of other inverts and reptile keepers.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, starting to do exhibitions just shows how far the actual hobby has come.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to have some awesome people.
Years ago, no one would have thought about it. So,
yeah.
It's always been attached to other sort of invertebrate shows where there might be one or two sort of ant keeping stalls, but to have an actual exhibition sort of dedicated to ant keeping, that's what I like to hear.
Yeah, that's definitely the main plan of it. Oh, here we go.
And we're back. Whoa, and there was an echo.
It was just making it a bit more epic.
Yeah, we're back. I need to start doing stuff like that in these streams, but it doesn't come to me naturally.
Yeah.
You know,
I get that. I've got a pretty dry sense of humor most of the time. It's normally me just laughing at myself.
I feel the same, to be honest, much of the time. Have you watched many of these streams? They've really like developed into something really cool.
Honestly, I haven't, man. I've been completely dedicated to the work and trying to change stuff as well. So
Yeah,
after I decided to make a sort of like career change, I realized that being realistic, I'd built a career for 8 years. Throwing it away was a bit sort of silly.
Yeah.
So I've been training. So I'm doing all the threat qualifications, which is first response emergency care.
wow.
So once I get to level 6, that's paramedic level. So I'm doing my level 4 at the moment. Then I'll be doing my level 5, which is like sort of technician level, and I can work
Yeah.
on the ambulances and stuff. And then I'm also doing a master's in crisis risk and resilience management. So
Wow.
on top of what I already do, it's kind of like adding a few strings to my bow that should hopefully get me back into a stable position rather than traveling the world and going from task to task, which
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah.
glamorous, but after 8 years of it, especially when you have kids and an ant keeping hobby to keep up with, like being away all the time just isn't the one.
Yeah, no, like Stacey just said, hats off to you completely. That's amazing work, and yeah, I think you definitely got your priorities right, to be honest.
Yeah, well, if I put in the work now, I'm going to have a lot more time later on. And it was kind of a decision that I had to come to. It was like, I had that stable position for a couple of years, which allowed me to get into the hobby and do more. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that job came to an end. And then it was like, I needed to sort of get out there. And then I thought, what can I actually do, put my
Yeah.
time into and will give me more time later on. And unfortunately, the hobby has had to be sort of sacrificed in the meantime. But in the background, I am still there working away on the colonies when I get the chance to be home, and I'm definitely working on a plan to be home a lot more often.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I think you've got it right because you're putting in that effort, like you say now, so you can enjoy yourself later on. I mean, that's the end goal for anyone, really, not having to do much later on in life.
Yeah, it's true. Well, if I don't, I'll be stuck in the same situation, and I'll just be bouncing around everywhere.
Yeah.
And how much have I got realistically time wise to be continuing doing that?
Yeah, no, I completely get that. I feel much the same myself sometimes. You always, especially in this modern world where everything's going up in price, you're just constantly chasing things, and you
Oh
need to
yeah.
get ahead of the game these days, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You have to look for sort of new opportunities, and that really does mean knuckling down, because it's almost to a point where it's not living anymore; it's survival.
Yeah, no,
So
that's it. I think a lot of people would completely agree with that as well.
yeah.
Yeah. But back to the ants, I've always wanted to know, what's your favorite ant species?
Mine.
Yeah,
Oh wait, how many species are there again? No, I'm
exactly.
no, literally, I'll always have the same answer to this. I'm a bit like the Pokemon master, yeah. No matter
Yeah,
what ant species there is, there's probably something about it that makes it my favorite within that sort of
yes,
genus. There's
yeah,
not one I don't really like. I appreciate all of them for what they kind of do, and there's some which are just like really intriguing. So you could say they're your favorite because of their traits or what they are or what they do. So it's kind of really difficult. But keeping, definitely, I would put Polyacres dives at one of my top.
yeah.
I just really love watching them weave the nests and the structures that they build. And sort of now my colony, I don't know if I updated that I had a larger pod. I put that in. Haven't managed to do any videoing on it, but they've already weaved a massive nest down the side of that, which is pretty epic to see.
Awesome. Do you know what kind of size your pollies are at the moment? Because you had yours before I had mine.
So they had a little bit of a hibernation, and they've just had a load of elates, and for some
Nice.
reason, I don't know if it's a generational thing, but a whole swathe of them sort of passed on. Like there was suddenly just a ton of dead out of nowhere. But I kind of think, like, looking at the amount of time I've had them, it would kind of make sense if an entire generation during the boom kind of just came to
Yeah.
the end of their life. So I was worried about them for a couple of weeks, and it was also quite cold. So I think they sort of went into a semi-hibernation, which they can do.
Yes.
And now they're back booming, and there's still a lot of male elates. I haven't seen any female elates yet, but they seem
Yeah.
to do them in separate batches. So
I'm hoping to have some females this year. I had so many males previous year. I mean, there's still a few of them walking about now, but I'm hoping there'll be some females this year. I think I'm around 3,000 to 4,000 workers now. The nest is huge.
yeah, Yeah, I'd
Massive.
probably estimate mine have dropped maybe about 1,500 with what I've got.
Yes,
But
very good size.
there was a lot more. I can't really explain as to what happened other than that. I think it was just a sort of generational thing, and it hit them at a time
Yeah.
where they were producing a lot of late. So, it would have been sort of a gap between new worker and old.
Yeah, because obviously they're using a lot of the resources on the elates at that time as well.
Yeah, exactly. So they don't produce actually many workers, and you see that sort of impact happen, and I think that's what you're seeing there because I've got so many male elates. It's absolutely crazy. One entire pod is just filled with male elates.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. That's a lot of males. And
Yeah.
and the worst thing is they're pretty much useless to the colony.
Well, until the females come, because these ones can actually sort of like interbreed.
Yes.
I can't exactly remember the process off by heart, but I know it's one of the methods of sort of interbreeding
I mean,
or replication of the queen, I think it is.
I'm hoping I get like you say, maybe they might inbreed in the tank, but I just don't know. It's one of those things, and that you just got to hope for the best. Cross your fingers, cross your toes, hope for the best.
Yeah, well, I definitely saw them like mating when they're in the tank, so I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised if you saw that. Yeah, the
that's
males
cool.
are definitely sort of attaching themselves to the females and doing their thing.
I don't think I've ever actually seen male ants mating with a female. I don't think I've ever witnessed it.
I think I might have filmed it.
Really, I'll have to look.
Yeah,
Back.
I'll see if I can find the footage.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. That'd be really cool. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it properly. We're just going
Bit
back
weird
through
how it's like
that.
filming
Ant
it.
Ramblins is asking, how did your wife cope with the Solenopsis escaping?
Let's just say that was nearly like the end of it all.
Yeah,
Epic proportions, seriously, man. It was almost like pack your shit and get out of the house. Excuse my French.
yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, my wife is pretty good, right? When my Polyacres dives escape, she pretty much just puts the box over them and shouts me to come deal with it.
Oh, she breezes the Polyacres or even the Acromimics. Don't phase her at all.
No,
But the Solenopsis are a whole different story,
yeah.
and
Were they
literally I
like
saw of them.
swarming as well?
They were everywhere. They had trails off into the bathroom. They had trails off into the kitchen. They had got into everything. They were up and down the wall, and we got a long stretch corridor. So they had literally formed a trail down the entire corridor.
Wow.
I'd say at least at the time, 50% of the colony had made their way out into the house, and unfortunately, Order 66 of the Hoover had to come out because there was just no other choice, especially with the little ones running out. So,
yeah. It's not worth it with kids.
no, it's luckily none of them got stung, but I just hate to think of them being stung.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a bit wary about having my Asian bullet ants because they're right here with an open top, and all it takes is for one of the kids to reach in. But I'm pretty sure they won't.
Yeah.
But it's always in the back of my mind what would happen if they got stung by them. You know.
Yeah, of course.
Quite.
How's the colony getting on?
Yeah, they're doing really well. I'm just watching them now at the moment.
Is
they're
this
doing
them?
really, really well. They've dug so much that they've changed the landscape of the tank.
Oh, I love it when they do that.
Yeah, like the big test tube, massive test tube, biggest one I've ever seen, was originally on top of the ground, and now it's pretty much buried completely.
They're just using it as a chamber now.
Yeah, it's so cool. And yeah, I just love watching them when they're taking down the prey or whatever. It's so cool the way they one of them on its own, like, because they work as lone hunters, don't they? And then find the prey, and within seconds there's like 15, 20 of them just tearing into it. Brilliant.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't often do live feedings, as you know. It's not normally something I do, but with them, they do kind of require
certain species. That everyone has to agree, certain species, but it's that whole thing, in proportion, minimal, respectful. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, fair enough. Throw in a prey item that they would normally tackle and can take down quite easily, and they're actually designed to probably take it out much quicker than you could. Or
that's
you know what I mean.
Right.
If you look at them stinging them, when I watch like fruit flies being dispatched by stinging ants, it's in a second. Like the moment it touches that that fruit
That's
fly is
it.
dead.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's pretty quick and painless, and it's something they would normally go for. Many species are actually specialist hunters of dipterans, which are flies, and that's why they're able to hunt and gather the way they do. So it's a standard prey item for them.
Yeah, definitely. It's one I don't use enough is fruit flies, to be honest. I don't know why.
Fruit flies can become a nightmare. One, they're very, very prone to getting mites.
Yes.
Two, the cultures don't last very long, and as much as anyone says, including like anyone that's tried it, like it is an absolute nightmare to maintain, to keep on doing new feeds and then transfer it across, and then you've still got to get rid of the old colony, which just becomes dirt after a couple of days. It's just it's
no,
quite
you're
messy.
completely right. What I tend to do when I get them is I'll wait for them to get to a good number. I'll just shake them out into a big box and freeze them.
Yeah.
It's still got the. I'll keep some alive, but they're just a nightmare. Like you say, they're just a nightmare. And
we're just doing that. It's like little protein snacks. So
I find they breed faster than I use them as well, and then the culture's kind of done with, and I've not used them all.
Yeah, that does happen. You need to keep other insects with them, really, like praying mantis or something, where you're actually sort of using a bulk of them to feed other stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a really good idea, actually. I have been looking into praying mantis and jumping spiders and things like that, because they really take my fancy, but I'd have to convince the wife to let me know.
Yeah, I get that. Praying mantis are cool. Sadly, they just don't live very long, but it's quite a enjoyable process keeping them. It's just always that heartache within a year. You're going to be saying goodbye to your little buddy that you've watched like hatch, or like you've had since it was absolutely tiny and practically like tweezer fed it with to keep it going, man. I used to love doing that with my little nymphs.
Yeah, I think I would fully enjoy that, but like you say, they just don't live very long. We have got mantis coming to the exhibition, which is going to be interesting. Mantis NI, obviously, he started over with ants, so he's going to come over, bring some mantis as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I've sort of went. So we've got loads of ant stuff at the exhibition. I don't know how much you know about it, so I'm going to tell you all about it now.
Tell me all about it, man. I'm always happy to hear more.
We've got lots of ant stuff, some great ant vendors. We're going to have guest speakers from. Because of privacy laws, I can't actually tell you everything.
I totally get GDPR.
There's a guest speaker she's the lead lecturer or head lecturer at Bristol University Biostudies Department. And she's been doing some amazing ant research and stuff like that. So she's going to come talk about all of that. We've got some Ant Keeper magazine, Wildlife Trust is going to be there, Mantis NI. Can't remember what other vendors, but there's going to be loads of vendors, loads of content creators. There's going to be like exhibition, like things to look at, if you know what I mean, rather than just vendors and stuff to buy. There's actually going to be interesting things to look at. The content creators are going to be doing meet and greets. There's food. We're going to be doing a live picnic table chat show, one of these, so we can just interview anybody who's hear about their ant keeping experience and broadcast it to the world.
That's cool.
There's loads of different things going on. Basically, I can't even remember it all, but it's going to be a action-packed day of ant madness.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. You know me, I just went full on with it.
Yeah, man. It's good to hear, because I remember before we were talking about it in the beginning.
Yeah, like long time ago it came up, and then it never really, never happened, did it? So I just went full on and got on with it.
That's good, man. That's good. You have to.
Yeah, no, my energy. I love it. I love the hobby, and I just want the hobby to, like, let's say, get to that same place where it's respected the same as a reptile keeper. Because when you say to someone, I keep ants, the face they pull is.
Yeah, but even now, I mean, I'd say reptile keepers are only sort of like 50% appreciated. Like,
yeah.
I think it's still quite a stretch. I mean, if you get to the invertebrate, like if you get people more to the point of like where they're like, oh, so you keep spiders or you keep scorpions or praying mantis, where they're just like, that's all right. That's kind of, I would say, a massive achievement for the hobby.
Yeah, That would be amazing if we could reach that, and then everyone would know what an ant. We won't have all those beginner issues. I think because the education would be out there a bit better. And yeah, I think
I definitely think every day, the sort of information that you can find on various different species is growing,
yes.
massively. Like especially with platforms like YouTube and TikTok as well has been absolutely huge for stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there's a lot more advice out there and a lot more sort of different ways of getting the same results that one way might not work. But again, there's always going to be that trial and error because of how delicate the species can be, especially like queen ants. Like you're doing everything right, it's all going good. Like 3 weeks in, everything looks beautiful. Then you just check that one time where you're doing your monthly check, and there she is, all curled up and gone.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happened with my Manica rubilla the other day. They've been in a natural setup for a couple of months. They're doing absolutely fine. And then for some reason, the workers are there dragging out the dead body of the queen.
Gutted.
Yeah, absolutely gutted. I really like that colony as well because I've had her from the queen. She got up to about 10 to 15 workers, had her dying off. And I quickly moved them into the natural form of carrier. We've got them back up to about 10 to 15 workers, and now she's died.
Yeah, sometimes I just think it's no matter how good you have it, it's not going to be.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's unknown causes we're going to put that one down to.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can do absolutely everything spot on. It doesn't matter, and she just doesn't survive. Or something random happens and it causes all the workers to just die off, and the queen's there alone. And she's like, well, no, I had workers to do this. I'm not doing it anymore. And then sadly, she passes away.
Yeah, it really sucks. Even with the semi-clostrial ones, they just stop working. Like, oh, well, I've got workers now. I'm just not going to bother. Even if they're on their own, they get starved to death.
Yeah, sadly, it's very rare where you get that queen that is just an absolute survivor, where she's just a total beast. But even with workers, she's like, nope, I'm still going to do my bit. And you always find those queens that live the longest as well, where they actually have that survival instinct. And there's also, I saw a documentary ages ago that was pretty much saying that not all queens are good mothers.
Yeah.
So if you get that queen that has a really strong mother instinct and will lay another batch and will take care of that brood, then you're good. But if you get you get those queens where they just like lay a batch and every batch they eat it, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try it, they're just like, nope, I'm not destined to be a good mum.
Yeah, I've definitely had a few of those in my time.
Yeah, so have I. It's heartbreaking to see. Like I had one queen, she pretty much survived for a year and a half doing exactly that.
Yeah.
And I gave her absolutely everything I could, and then just one day that was it. Looked in and she was all curled up.
Got
I was like, oh.
Campanulus herculinus queen doing exactly the same. I looked in there for the first time in probably about 6 months, and she's got 2 tiny little eggs. That is it.
Yeah.
And pretty much guarantee if I looked again, they'd probably be gone. But saying that, my other herc colony, I had them on the side for probably a year as well. And just all of a sudden, she started laying. Literally nothing's changed, nothing. And she just started laying, and there's huge batches of eggs, and the workers are starting to eat as well, because they've all just been huddled up for over a year, like literally doing nothing.
Well, she probably just got to that point where she was like, if you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
If I can't fail at an empire, I must create one.
Well, yeah. I mean, we won't go into empires at a minute because it will lead us onto Russia.
I don't know about that.
We try to stay non-political on these streams, but it always kind of creeps in a little bit.
Well, hey, I've heard rumors on the border between the ant species that live in Russia and the ant species that live in Ukraine. There's been beef for a very long time.
Yeah, that won't surprise me. See, I had someone ask me the other day, what if someone orders ants in Russia? Would I send them ants to Russia? And I was like, I don't know. Are we even sending stuff? If I put ants in the post, would it even get to Russia? I don't think so.
I think they've literally just sanctioned the UK because Boris Johnson went over and spoke to.
I don't know. It's all very confusing at the minute. I have a suggestion the other day. Someone said that I should do like an animation of the Russian war, but change everyone to ants. That's a little bit dark, but I don't know. Maybe one day we can do something like that. I haven't got the technology capacity to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I can see the humor behind it. It's a dark humor, but
Yeah, it's a bit of a dark humor. Yeah. I'm just reading this. Ants on the Rock, add Gibbo stuff to your collection, 5 to 8 week development and workers can quit. Oh, wow, okay. I will have a look into them. It's not one I've ever kept, mainly because I can't even begin to pronounce it. Anthonogasta gibbosa. Yeah, I can't pronounce it. My Latin is awful, as we all know, like. But I have heard of them before. They got quite spindly legs, don't they? But 5 to 8 weeks, that's quite fast.
do you know, I've only just realised that there's comments on the right side.
Yeah. So all the ones with the little red, they're all red at the moment. They're on YouTube. But we also get purple and blue come up. The purple is Twitch and blue is Facebook because we're currently broadcasting all three.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't realise you could do multicasting.
Yeah. And it also becomes a Spotify podcast as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it gets everywhere. You know, gets everywhere. Sometimes we have like insane amounts of people watching. We've had up to like 28 concurrent viewers and things like that. We get people in Japan signing on. That was a random night, wasn't it, everyone? Yeah, it's good. It's getting out there, getting around, and like everyone seems to be enjoying it.
That's good to hear, man.
Yeah. Just trying to do my bit for the community as well, you know. Excuse me, coughing again on stream. I've had this awful chest infection for the last, what am I on? I'm on my 4th week of antibiotics and I've got another week left. So yeah, it's been quite a bad one.
That's not good, man. Hopefully you get over that quick.
At least it wasn't COVID.
Very true. Very true. Could always be worse.
That's it. Stacey saying hello now that you're reading the comments.
Hello. Sorry, yeah, I should really keep an eye on them. I was scrolled up all the way to the top and I didn't notice them before, and then I just realised going all the way to the bottom, that's where they're
Adam's just saying it's his first. Adam Wigan here has listened to them or watched them after they're normally live, but this is the first time he's got to watch one live, so it's really good that he's enjoying it. Man flu is dangerous. See, I don't tend to get man flu. I'm actually really good, right? I can put up with most things, but when my actual when I get a nasty chest infection, it messes with my other health conditions, and that is it. I am out for the count. In fact, it was the first time I couldn't do my chat show. I put the stream on and I just chatted through text because I couldn't even breathe enough to talk.
Yeah, it's not good. It's almost like COVID, man.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, my health conditions, I talk about them openly all the time, so it's not an issue. My health conditions are they say the ongoing effects of COVID replicate what I basically live with, which was quite interesting. So that they've been doing further research into my condition because of how people can go on and deal with long effects of COVID.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. I've already had my letter about a 5th vaccination.
I gave up after the 3rd.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I got forced into 3. It was like no jab, no job. And I started to lose a fair bit of work. And then it was like, yeah, no, okay, you forced me into that. My first one, my first 2 were only 4 weeks apart, which I had to get a doctor's letter. And everyone was like, this is really dangerous. And I was like, I've been told if I don't have it, I'm not working.
Yeah.
So jab me.
Yeah, I mean, I generally just say if the doctor's going to stick something in me, you know, I have so many injections and stuff. I don't even ask what half of them are. So why would I start now?
Oh, that's fair enough, man. It's fair enough. It's just, I always think it's more about the effects that can be caused from them or anything like that. Do you know, you need the whole reason it takes 6 years to develop something is because you genuinely need that time to test it and find out the results and the long-term results and everything else that's done for it. I'm all about the science. I'm not ever going to be against a vaccine or an inoculation or anything like that that can actually genuinely save lives, but do it properly and without all the corruption that happened with it. But that's politics, so we'll leave that for another show.
It's hard not to get into it, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's big news at the moment. We're going through an absolutely crazy time in the world. Like, if you look at it, like we are potentially, just before World War One, World War Two, in the same scenario. You've got the Russian media putting out that they're saying World War Three has started.
Yes,
So,
yes, I have seen
that's
that.
quite scary to think.
Yeah.
You've got mass corruption from our own government over how they've handled absolutely everything. They're just like, well, the country's sinking, quick, pay off all your mates and make sure they're sorted. And it doesn't matter how many failed contracts they are because it's gone anyway.
Yeah. It's all completely screwed, and us at the bottom are going to get the worst of it. We know that,
That's always the way, man. Always the way. That's British aristocracy, man.
Yeah, that's it. I just want to say a massive welcome to the Dog Got Eaten 2 over there on Twitch. Thank you for joining us.
What a name, man.
Yeah,
I
mean, Twitch, it really is quite an interesting platform. Obviously, it's more of a gaming platform. You don't have many pet streamers on there, and definitely not many chat shows like this. So it's a bit of a weird platform to be on, but it has really done well. Like, everyone seems to be enjoying it, and the new sort of concept and content that they're coming out to. But I do find that they all kind of have these gamer names, what you would expect from a gamer. Whereas in the ant community, 99% of us have ants in the name.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're a really great community, actually, really welcoming. And I've enjoyed talking to a lot of them and showing them ants possibly for the first time, a lot of them.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. You need to crack out Empires of the Undergrowth.
Right, so I've seen that. I haven't got round to playing it. I just don't have time to play games, really. What did I play the other day? I managed to play Battlefront 1, the World War One game.
Yeah.
I managed to blast through the whole campaign, and I haven't been able to pick up the thing since. But when I get a chance to game, I do enjoy the game, but I'm so busy between work, other work, and all other work. Yeah, so busy. No, it's me. It's All Ants UK on Twitch. Okay, the Dog Got Eaten 2 is All Ants UK on Twitch.
Oh, I guess the ants ate the dog then.
Yeah, okay. It does get confusing sometimes when they've all got different names, but we just go with it.
Sorry, man. Don't keep Solenopsis, kids.
Don't keep Solenopsis, please. It's like stay in school. Don't keep Solenopsis.
It's true, man. It's bad for your health.
No, they are a good species. Like, I'm not gonna, they are a great species, but I think you need to be prepared for what you're letting yourself into.
Do you know what the real trick of it is, right?
Go on.
Is getting that setup, which allows you to work with it, because they're very, very, very good at overwhelming a setup. No matter how big that setup is, like, they will find a way to overwhelm it.
Yeah.
So it's finding that dream setup to actually keep them in, where the setup kind of tries to do at least 90% of that work, rather than sort of more 20% of that work, and the rest is you just panicking.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that, actually. Like you say, it is a lot of work and stress just trying to maintain them, and if you can get that bit right, then they are a lot easier. But I think my main problem with them is, and a lot of people might moan at me for saying this, I don't like it when a colony is so large that they're just everywhere, up every side, like the floor's crawling with them. Like, you can't see the floor through them, if you know what I mean. I don't want that. I like to see them all kind of spaced out and doing their normal thing. And I know with Solenopsis, they always get to that point. No matter
Yeah, I mean,
what.
it's kind of, I don't know. Like, one of the things I love is the Carabara, which they are what I would call a blanket species in that sense.
Yes,
When they move as a mass troop, which can be quite epic to watch, especially the way they sort of like swarm. I think with the Solenopsis is the added fact that they're just as aggressive, but they have the added sting.
Yeah, they've got that sting, and when one gets you, it sends on that alert to everyone.
Yeah, and if there's a whole cluster of them, that's it. Like there's no going back. It's not going to be fun.
Have you been stung much?
I've been pretty lucky. I've been stung a few times, but I haven't madly been stung. However, the other half has been mutilated by them. I mean,
you got away with it.
Their human rights were totally violated by the Solenopsis. They were just like, we take no prisoners. We do not abide by your laws.
You got away with it, and she got bitten. Brilliant.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like I'm a little bit quicker and sort of delicate and not willing to sort of take them on that way. So yeah.
Brilliant. No, that's brilliant. What would you say is the most painful sting you've ever received? Sting or bite?
Oh, so far it'd have to be the Rhytido Panera.
Okay.
I took a sting off one of them. Yeah, that was something to remember. That was it's a very long lasting sting as well. But I did actually sort of like read up that their venom is a little bit more potent like that, and sort of the sting
I've done a bit of research into the different venoms, and they are really interesting, some things that can happen. I was reading about a spider earlier that if it bites you, you can get a 4 to 6 hour erection.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I've heard of that.
Like that's just insane. What use could that possibly have as a venom?
Well, hey, it's probably the main ingredient of Viagra, so.
Yeah, exactly. It's not one that I'm that common with, I can honestly say.
Yeah, well, if you look at it, sort of penicillin is grown from mold, which was originally
it is.
moldy bread.
A lot of these things are found in nature, aren't they?
Yeah, everything. I mean, even painkillers that we take, and everyone's like, "Hey, I'm anti-drugs," but they'll happily take a Coca-Cola. Well, that is heroin. It's the same thing. It's opiates.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah, which is odd to think about, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. When you break it down that way, a lot of people are like, hold on. It's like, yeah, bro, that's what you've been taking this whole time, some kind of opium or sort of like cocaine derivative. So, that's our primary medication.
Yeah, which leads me on to something else I was watching the other day about Coca-Cola and the fact that they outright deny it's ever had cocaine in it, but it's on the bottles from back when it was prescribed as or sold as a medicine.
Yeah, because it was originally a cure-all.
Yeah, that's it. Which I thought was really interesting how they developed into a soft drink.
Yeah.
Basically took over the whole world, haven't they?
Pretty much, man. It's one of the largest companies. Even the things you don't realize that are actually owned by Coca-Cola are, and they're actually one of the largest owners of the water systems. So.
I didn't know that.
They have to be held accountable to water resource because of how much they own.
Oh wow, that's really interesting actually. I thought it was good that they stopped selling in Russia and things like that, but did you know that KFC is still going in Russia?
Well, KFC said they were going to pull out, and they were like, well, good luck, we're just going to keep it. and keep on going. Like, we know the recipes, we can make it ourselves. So KFC were a bit like, well, that's not going to work. We'd rather get our cut than lose our cut, you know what I mean? But I don't know, man, like, sanctions in Russia are not going to do a lot because we've sanctioned Russia for a long time. Russia's built up its economies with the exact countries that are not going to stop trading with it. They are massive allies of India. They are massive allies of China. Every time we buy from China, we are basically supporting Russia. They sell oil to China. China sells that same oil to us. So it's no longer Russian because now it's Chinese. It's like, come on. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like they've built their economy of selling us everything through someone else. India and China are some of our biggest trade company partners, and they're the Russia's biggest trade partners. So no matter what, that's still going to circulate into our economy and theirs.
It's definitely going to be an interesting time.
Yeah, I mean, things could unfold in many different ways over the next couple of years, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. As long as we don't go to war and have to like stop everything ant related, then we'll be okay.
I'll just remember, man, there'll always be ants on the front line.
Yeah, that's true. We sat there in a trench, like, hang on, I need to get a test tube.
Day 54, trench number 5, Solenopsis. Watch how they march on over the Russian corpse.
No, that'd be brilliant. Little ants with little bombs on them or something.
Yeah, that's what you'd have to do. Just be like, listen, we need to know new ways to get the enemy. I'll tell you what, drop a colony of Solenopsis into their trenches.
Yeah, that would do them. Like that. Problem is, doing Ukraine, which is so cold.
Yeah, they'd have to have little like heated jackets on and stuff. They're proper military style ants. You'd have to beef them up a bit for combat.
Brilliant. Right, so I'm just moving on with the show a little bit. We were going to have a bit of a quiz. Do you fancy joining in our quiz?
Yeah, we can give it a go.
Brilliant. It's just general knowledge. So everyone in the chat, you know the drill. We did the same in the last stream. I'm just going to read out your questions. You get a couple of minutes to answer. There's no prize. It's just for fun at the moment. So we're going to get started. How many time zones are there in Russia?
Oh. How many time zones are in Russia?
It's a massive country, bear in mind, so it stretches like
It stretches the whole of, yeah.
It's quite a lot. How many time zones are in Russia?
I don't know. 8?
We've got Katrina saying 2, Stacey saying 7, Adam 1, Antimatter's 9. I'm going to say higher. Go higher, everyone.
Wow, really?
Really?
I'm trying to think how many there are, because all I always remember is that we are 0 degrees, because it goes from
the Greenwich Mean Line, doesn't it?
Yeah, Greenwich. Yeah, that's 0 degrees median. So
yeah, Stacey's saying 12. I'm going to let that answer out. It's 11.
Wow.
Yeah, 11 time zones in Russia. That's quite a lot, really. Like,
yeah,
the whole of the UK is in one time zone.
Yeah. But we're just a speck of dust, really, in comparison, which is why it makes our history quite even more incredible when you think about the size of our country.
Definitely. Which of the following empires had no written language? The Incan, the Aztec, the Egyptian, or the Roman?
No written language?
Yeah, they did not write things down at all. Now, this is quite an obvious one, I think.
So which ones? The Aztecs?
The Incas, the Aztecs, the Egyptians, and the Romans.
The Incas.
Yeah, I'm going to give it straight to you. Well done, JB. It was the Inca Empire. They used to use a series of knots and things like that to tell stories and write down history. And they just used other forms of art, which is really interesting. I love their culture, actually. I think it's amazing to see what they were like able to do at that time.
Yeah, there was quite incredible historic cultures, really. It's one of the reasons why I'm quite a massive fan of history.
Yeah, same, definitely. Them and the Mayan Empire is just, again, it's insane. Like, and they know so little about it. They're still finding out so much.
Well, same with the Egyptian. I mean, they had quite incredible science for their time, and even then the Chinese as well. Like, where everyone says, "Oh, the Chinese stole from us," but the reality is, like, 90% of actual things that are created, we steal it from them.
Oh yes, they got there first with those things.
It's like, when was it? Wait, who made gunpowder again? How long ago were they using it? You said you made it. Yeah, no, you just got that off the Silk Road. Let's be real about this.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Where is the lowest natural place on Earth? Oh, that's a hard one.
Above
Anyone gets this,
sea, or what, above
give 'em
sea
a
level,
clap.
or like actually below the sea?
It's below the sea, I will say.
Oh, it's that I can't remember what it's called. But it's a great big crack.
Yeah, it's the Marina Trench.
Yeah, the Marina Trench.
Yeah. 11,000 meters deep.
Yep. It's like 3
Wow.
Mount Everest or something, isn't it? Or more.
Yeah, something like that. That's deep. You imagine what could be living down there? You know, we're never going to get to the very bottom of the Marina Trench. Never.
Well, whatever's down there has really had absolutely, other than to be more scary, it's just absolutely no reason to evolve. Like,
Yeah.
if it's got to its peak existence, it's just going to continue. Like,
Yeah, it could be pretty scary. Full of teeth, I expect. Lots and lots of teeth.
yeah, I mean, well, look at the stuff that they do find. Like, they're always the lower and lower they're able to get stuff. You know, they're taking pictures of all these crazy new species that they're finding.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them do
Thousands
look
of
very
species.
ancient as well.
So next question. Who is the most famous graffiti artist to come from Bristol?
Bristol. I feel like I should know this.
Everyone should know this.
It's not Banksy, is it?
It is Banksy, yeah. I thought he came from London, but here it says Bristol.
No, his so supposedly his father was supposed to own a printing press or something.
Oh, okay. So I
That's
don't know a lot about Banksy, but I see obviously that art just appears somewhere and it's well known throughout the country, if not the world.
Yeah.
I think he does some good stuff because it's like
Well, it's kind of
recognised.
political graffiti, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like political art, really, and that's sort of how he does his stuff. It's political art, and because it's stenciled, you know, it's always very artistic. It's always very
Yes.
clean, rather than sort of, you know, just tagging your name up or just doing a fancy wording. It's kind of, it is actually just art every time.
Yeah. So moving on, how many keys does a classic piano have? That's a hard one.
Cool.
And you can't even count them, really. That's black and white keys on a classic piano.
Don't know, like 109 or something.
You're close. It's not far off.
110.
Adam's saying 52. I'm going to say go higher, Adam. It's in the 80s. Anyone can make one last guess. It's in the 80s.
I don't know, 82.
88.
88.
88 keys. I've never been able to play the piano properly. I can play bits and bobs. I'm mainly a drummer. But knowing that there's 88 different, you know, instrument bits in front of me, that's quite intimidating. On a drum kit, I don't think I ever reached 88 pieces.
Yeah, but it's all within sort of context, really. They're quite small
Yeah.
keys, so it's just being able to use your fingers. So it's your fingers' dexterity and timing, really.
Yeah. Have you seen how their hands sort of stretch after a while? Have you ever seen
Yeah, I
a
mean,
piano?
I used to play the keyboard, or at least I tried to learn the keyboard, and it's
There you
it's
go.
very sort of similar stuff. You know how you have to just sort of move across and sort of know what you're doing. But being
Yeah, I
tone
mean,
deaf, I kind of gave it up.
I'm not that great at anything kind of melodic. I'm good at hitting things, good at rhythm, but melodies kind of out of my reach. Here's one everyone should know. What city do the Beatles come from?
Everyone should know, but I'm trying to think.
Oh no,
Isn't it somewhere up north?
it is. Well, I'm going to say it's up north, but everywhere's north of me.
Yeah, well, the same. Liverpool or something? No, not Liverpool. Not Birmingham. Is it Birmingham? No, I don't know.
Everyone in the
Leeds.
chat's getting it.
Liverpool.
It is Liverpool.
I thought I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't say I know enough about them anymore.
They're a massive band, but it's one of them that if if you're not into listening about them, you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, I knew a lot more about them when I was a kid, but I think sort of
Yeah.
like the generational gap is now quite prevalent when it comes to them.
Yeah,
So
to be honest, I was actually a little bit surprised that the Ant Warrior said Liverpool. It might be because he's from that sort of up north area, but I was a little bit surprised that someone so young knew.
you just
No
have
offense, Ant
parents.
Warrior.
It's his parents, any money. I mean,
Yeah.
that's where we all got it from, really.
Yeah, that's it. Antimatters is saying the Philippines. I think that might be a slightly different band.
Yeah, that's their the copycats.
Yeah. I'm just going through all my questions. I've got lots of good questions and lots of bad questions. Okay.
How bad are the bad ones? That's the real question.
Oh no. What is the capital of Portugal?
Capital of Portugal. I feel like I really should know that.
I thought you were going to come out with it straight away, to be honest.
Yeah. Can't actually think off the top of my head. Lisbon.
It is. Yeah, it is
Okay.
Lisbon. Well done. And this is going to be an interesting one again. What is the doll Barbie full name? What is Barbie's full name?
Barbie has a full name.
She does.
Barbie
and it's
doll.
not Barbie.
I have no idea.
I thought this was quite interesting, actually. I'm going to have to find out the history behind it. I know Barbie was based on a real person, wasn't she?
I've got someone here who knows. What is
Yeah.
Barbara Millicent Roberts.
it? I think she would know that. Barbara Millicent Roberts.
Yeah, that is right. See, quite a weird one, isn't it? To have a middle name as well, Millicent Roberts.
I suppose most of us have middle names. The only reason I've got middle names is because my mum couldn't decide which name she actually likes, so she just gave all three. She was like, that would do.
I was named after both my granddads. So my granddad Tom was my Irish granddad, and my granddad David, my middle name, is my English granddad.
See, that's like my kids. They're both named after someone. Their middle names are people in the family.
Yeah, if I had a son, he would be called Tom, but I've got 3 girls, so we picked nice names for them.
Could have called one Tombolino.
I did try, but my wife wasn't up for it. I don't know. I tried all sorts, to be fair. Oh wow, I've just seen a diacama mel on the outside of the Polyacres tank.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's going to be dealt with. Got ya.
No.
Luckily, I come prepared for situations like this. I always have a little box on top of the tank, just in case one gets out.
Yeah, so I've always got little vials around.
Yeah.
Like I was cleaning out the Messel R&Rs today, and they're in the Wakushi Venus nest. So of course they packed their entire little outworld with the cotton from the tubes.
Right.
So I literally had to get a spare tub there, collect all the workers into the tub, pull out everything that they had stacked up into the outworld, and then tip all the workers back into the Venus nest.
Oh wow. So I like the Venus nests, but I've started finding that I struggle when they get to larger numbers.
Yeah. But that's what those nests are for. If you think about them as like your colony starter nest.
Yes.
That's how I look at them. Or like where I use them with my Polyacres is I've got them as an attachment. So like it goes down and the 3 tubes act as feeding tubes or water tubes. So, I think in that sense, when you actually look at it for those solutions that it solves, that's pretty good.
No, I agree.
Pretty good for what you get out of them. But yeah, I will agree. As soon as that species grows in number, I mean that's why I asked to get the 3 ports, so it gives me a lot more options for expansion. Like right now, I'm going to connect up 2 Venus nests together, and because I've got the ports on the side rather than just in front, it makes it a lot easier for me to use that space.
100 times easier, actually, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, I still think he should go with the 3 ports. I know he said it sort of like slows it down and sort of costs more time, but the 3 ports are very,
Make a
very
big
useful.
difference. Yeah. See,
Yeah, for me at
that's
least.
what I really liked about the ant hut modules. The fact that you can connect them in any direction.
Yeah. It solves a lot of problems because you're not always going to work with the space that you want. You know, you
Yeah.
might only have a small shelf or a small space where, it's not going to work connected end to end, but it could connect side to side.
Yeah, definitely. And going up now as well. Ant hut, I pestered him for ages, and he made me a vertical setup because vertical just saves so much space.
Yeah, well, I've just done that with the Solenopsis. They've got a massive vertical nest now.
Yeah. Like, what are you using for them as a nest?
So they've still got the dirt pod that they were using
Yeah.
because they seem to thrive in it, and I've connected that now to a large Antboy UK acrylic nest, and
Okay.
then that's connected to a Wakushi small species. I can't remember the exact name of the nest, but it's got one of them, and then that goes into an outworld, which is another
Okay.
Antboy UK outworld. But the outworld's a temporary solution because they will overwhelm that outworld in no time, and it would
Yeah.
just be the same problem.
Will you be adding a second outworld, or will you be looking to replace your first outworld?
So yeah, with the space that I've got, it's just one of those IKEA square units.
Yeah.
So I've
Yeah.
literally got the space of that square to fit everything in. So I'll probably look for sort of like an oblong outworld where the sort of entrance for it is in the center rather than at the sides, and then
Yeah.
sort of put that in that space because it will fit.
Yeah. See,
It's
that's
just
one.
whose arm I can twist to
That's
fit.
one thing I always find. Like, I buy all these shelving units, and I think, oh, I've got loads of space on my shelves, and then I go to put it in the shelf, and it's like the shelf is too thin, not wide
Yeah,
enough. You
it
know what I
doesn't
mean?
fit this way or it doesn't fit that way, and then
Yeah.
you find yourself getting creative of how you fit it all in.
It's like at the moment I've got 4 empty shelves, but none of them are like considerably long, if you know what I mean. They're just little
Yeah,
shelves.
yeah,
It's like, okay, I can probably fit 1, maybe 2 colonies squeezed next to each other, but it's going to be a push to get anything
yeah. It depends
substantial
on
on
how
there.
big their setups are.
Well, that's it. I mean, they all start small, obviously, but then they grow, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, well, look at the Polyacres; they take up mass amounts of space.
Yes, I mean, I'm looking once I get to my. I'm planning to move this year. If it doesn't happen this year, it will happen soon. I need to move. I need a bigger place, and I'm looking to put the Polyacres tank inside of a much larger tank and basically dismantle the glass whilst it's there. Just because I'm not going to be able to obviously move the colony out of here very easily, so I'll just build a bigger enclosure
Yeah, I mean,
around it.
that's the whole thing. When the colonies get to a certain size, it's like I'm looking at sort of the Carabora colony, and their pods are getting to the point now where, they've been going for a long time,
Yeah,
and sort of the 3D printing is starting to fail.
yeah,
The glue worlds are starting to sort of I think I've actually like sort of done a bit of experiment on this. I think because they've got natural substrate in it and it's damp, it just
yes,
erodes the glue world after time. It just weathers it and it
yeah.
just starts to come apart. So they're just now literally living in like buckets of duct tape, and that needs to be replaced. But it's kind of like, how on earth do I get the colony out of these setups and into a new setup? And
Yeah,
where
yeah,
do I find the space to connect the new setup to try and coax them out of the old ones?
yeah,
Because normally these kind of they normally in the wild would move from spot to spot, which is what I thought would happen. And
yeah,
initially, when the colony was smaller, that is what happened. But then, of course, as the colony's grown, it's gone, oh, well, now we're big enough to have several satellite nests. So we're not actually moving out of any of these pods.
yeah.
And
Okay.
because there's like more than one queen, there's 4 queens.
Ah,
It's kind of like, are they now split down between the pods?
yeah,
Are they all in one pod still? I don't know.
yeah. I've
So
heard of things like that in the past, actually, where someone's had massive colony. They put, like you say, a outworld or a pod the other side of the room, and one the other side of the room, hoping that they'll have satellite nests, and they ended up with a queen in each different nest.
yeah, so
Which,
they'll spread the space when they want to, and they'll
yeah,
keep control of it by having sort of breeding queens in there.
which is good.
It is, unless you're actually trying to coax them into something new.
Well, yeah.
And with the natural setups as well, as brilliant as they are, like, you know, once they're in, they're in. You know,
That's
you
it.
can't start digging them out of it. That's genuinely impossible. And
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you'd have to make those conditions in there quite dangerously uncomfortable for them to move. You know, which means you're more likely to lose your colony than you are to actually move them.
Yeah, no, I agree. When I tried to put the Polyacres into this tank, it was quite difficult. I tried to do the same again, dismantling the glass within the tank, but the tank itself was too small for me to really get everything done.
The thing I do like about the Polyacres is they're quite a big species. I mean,
Yes.
a lot of my swaps, I've actually like sort of, you know, caught them like painstakingly hours, transferred them across either by hand or by getting them to climb onto something and then shaking that in and then, you know, continuously repeating that process.
That's what I was going to say. In the end, I ended up, I pulled out the big jug thing, which is there, and that's where they were all kind of living in the smaller enclosure. And then, like you say, I just picked out the last ones. It wasn't much of an issue past that.
Yeah. So is this Polyacres Colony now that we're looking at?
It's, their nest.
I think it was Polyacres. It's a bit blurry on my screen, so I wasn't actually.
To be honest, it's always a little bit blurry. I've worked out what it is, right? So we upgraded. Originally, we were using my mobile Wi-Fi over on my computer and broadcasting over the mobile Wi-Fi. That was awful, right? So I installed broadband, and like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I've worked out what it actually is my computer. It needs like another 2 or 3 cores to be able to do what I actually need it to do when I'm streaming. So the next
what are you streaming at? What rate are you? What quality are you streaming at?
At the moment, it should be 720, I believe.
Yeah, because I actually saw a thing where it doesn't matter if you like up your settings, it will only stream at 720 on YouTube.
Yeah, right. So my computer can't actually keep up with the current rate that we're streaming at.
Okay.
Like I had my friend who's a computer technician come and have a look, and it's basically the oldest technology that I could run Windows 98 on this quite happily.
Okay, yeah, so it's just quite outdated.
Yeah, I think I've got 1 core, and on average, like every computer will have like 4 or 5 cores these days.
Yeah, it's like 4 to 8 cores these days. Or
yeah, and I'm literally running on the singular. It's pretty insane.
Wow. It's impressive that you got it running, man. I mean, I know. You might have to like have a look at your phone because it might be a bit more tech powerful than your computer.
Right. So now that took us on to the next thing. Like we can do the camera via the phone, but then I have no access to the comment section. Isn't as easy. I can't change the like layout on the screen. That I can bring you up there and I can put in music, and I have the sponsors that I show their banners and things like that. I wouldn't be able to do any of that if it was on my phone. So it's sort of like finding the best of the 2 evils.
Can you not like connect the phone via cable to the PC and use the phone to stream the video, but still control it through the PC?
That is an interesting concept, and I have tried it, but it wouldn't allow me. I think again because my computer's so old.
Right, yeah, just computer says no.
Like
just, your computer's nickname is Scrooge.
It's at the point I just need to upgrade the computer, I think.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
Yeah, but it's in the works and it will happen. Sometimes we get crystal clear footage, sometimes not. But I'm not going to complain because if it's going to make me blurry, normally you get to see me instead of the tank as well. Normally it's not just the tank. So if it makes my ugly face a little bit less blurry, more blurry, now I have no problem with that. Hide my mug.
Right, who needs Snapchat filters when you just got outdated tech?
Exactly, you get it. We had a comment from Antboy UK once saying someone asked what ants are we watching, and he just put in a black and white still photo. That's how bad the footage has been in the past. So we're definitely getting better.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing improvement. I did think it was Polyacres, but
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if you like zoomed in on another species and it was like it looked like them.
yeah,
Do you still have your shield ants? You did have shield ants, didn't you?
I do. They're
How are
not
they
in
getting
the
on?
same tank anymore. I took
Yeah,
them
yeah.
out within literally days of them being in there. But they're still going really strong, great colony. But the only thing about them is they're quite boring.
Yeah, well, you get some of those species where they're more enjoyable to keep, but they're absolutely impossible to make. It's like Mesobarbarus. Like you can only make so many videos on Mesobarbarus
Yeah,
because like they're absolutely wonderful to keep, but because nothing majorly changes with them unless you're
yeah,
like building new setups, like there's absolutely nothing really to film about them. It's like, hey, look, they've collected a seed, they've turned the
yeah,
seed into ant bread. They're wandering around their tank. They're just really pleasurable, but
yeah,
it doesn't
yeah,
make great entertainment. That's the only issue. But they are absolutely amazing species to keep. If you
yeah.
don't keep Mesobarbarus, think about it.
I think I've got a lot of those species, to be honest. They're all kind of just happily twaddling along, nothing really happening, and
Yeah, it's same like the Rhytidopanera. You know, they're a really beautiful species, but you know, nothing apart from like building them a setup and settling them in and showing them that they've grown. Like really day to day, nothing happens with the colony. They're just quite mellow and chill.
yeah. Which isn't a bad thing. I think I can completely understand why Ants Canada literally makes drama out of nothing, if you know what I mean.
Do you know? But the thing is, he did that bit where he did the stories, yeah,
Yeah,
like which I thought were quite cool. Like he turned them into stories, but then when
yeah,
it was just like problem of epic proportion or blown out of epic proportion or
yeah,
problem I've just created to get views or I'm gonna go back on like the things that I laid as like my entire guideline of this hobby that
yeah.
many people have followed for years. Like there's just it just got corrupted. That's all I'm gonna say. Like he just went down a path that just corrupted his soul. And it does happen, man. You must run out of ideas and maybe it was showing like frustrations that he has with
Yeah,
the hobby or stuff that was going on in his life or whatever. Like I don't want to take a complete stab at the guy. Like, do you know what I mean?
yeah,
He is what he is at the end of the day. But I
yeah.
just
That's
think
it.
he made
That's it.
some genuinely bad and poor choices. He's human. Do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna
Yeah,
hold it against him forever, but I
yeah.
wish he would
That's it.
go back to the innocent stories like, hey, look, here's my ant actually trying to traverse an
Hmm.
entire setup, and like I'm keeping up with this individual ant, which like, hey, if you've ever tried to film an individual ant, like that is a
Oh, mate,
feat
it's
in
hard.
itself. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like to actually say like, hey, this is this ant and put a 20-minute episode into it or something, that's quite impressive. But
it
I
is.
just wish he had stayed along that lines or carried on like getting ever more inventive with his setups, or even if he just kept that, but maybe did different content to boost rather than just getting a bit psychotic with the species. Like,
Yeah, no, I agree. Like his content is amazing, second to none, really. But it's just, like you say, he went down a bad path, and I can't follow that. But I have desperately been trying to get him on for an interview, so we can talk to him about it. I always say I don't like to have a go at people if they're
I
not here
think
to
one of his
defend
issues
themselves.
now, though, like he doesn't seem to like to be challenged on the hobby, and
Yes,
he
yeah,
doesn't engage with the community anymore. He is, this is what I am. You'll follow me, but I
yeah,
will not have any engagement with you. And I think in the beginning, because he was so engaged with the community, again, that just like that's how you built yourself. How can you just like turn your back on that? Like, do you know what I
yeah,
mean? You don't engage with the community now unless it's on your terms or
yeah,
unless you're being paid to turn up for something. It's kind of like, like at the end of the day, like, these people are supporting you, they're following your channel, like just give them a little bit of time or be engaged, like
yeah,
however like you need to be. Like even me, like when people comment on my videos, even though I haven't been posting any, I definitely try and put that time in to get back
yeah,
to them. Sometimes it might take me a few days or a week, but I definitely get back to all the comments and just try to connect with them because they deserve that time. How
yeah,
can you not, it's people see it as a one-way street, but I see it as sort of like a mutual thing.
yeah.
You're giving to them and they're giving to you, so like there is a sort of mutual relationship there.
Definitely. I try and be like anyone in the chat knows I am here for anything, you know what I mean? They can all send me a message anytime. I always get back to everyone, try and answer every comment. Like you say, it's that communication and mutual respect. You know, it's not nice to be ignored by anyone.
No. You know, I understand as well. Like, if you look at the scale of what he has to connect with, but it's kind of like, you know, how hard would it be for you to actually just connect with other ant keepers who are also content creators in a way, or like, you know, genuinely like just, you know, even those young keepers, how much would it mean to them for him to spend, you know, half an hour in his life just to be like, oh look, I'm gonna jump on your video, man, and just like, you know, make your day. Do you know what I mean? And like, you know,
it definitely would.
share whatever. It's kind of like, I just feel like that passion in him has gone, and that's one of the things I think that hurt me the most. Is I felt like, you know, that passion had gone, and he just has no interest unless it's like on his way, and it's just the way it feels, like it's the way it's portrayed. And he might see it differently, because, you know, you do see it differently when you're on the other side of the fence. But, you know, I just see like, what's the harm? Like be a part of the community that follows you for so long and sort of, you know, helped you become what you are in a sense.
You are,
because, you know, it's like building a channel on shooting, and then just like not engaging with anyone about shooting. Like, do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like, well, this is it. This is what I'm gonna do, and it's kind of like, you know, you wouldn't keep it channel going. Yeah, that's how it comes across.
Can't be doing. I will say that I've had one comment back from Ants Canada about my Polyacres Colony, actually, this colony here. And he said that he loved it or whatever. But I actually get more engagement from him when we're talking about dieting and bodybuilding.
Well, that's what he's into at the moment, and that's what I mean by where I say, like, you know, I think that's what's showing in his content, is that passion for the actual hobby isn't there anymore, and now it's a job, and it feels like a job. Do you know what I mean? And like, I do get that, but like, he could easily transfer like a lot of his stuff by splitting down his channels and having like a bodybuilding channel, if that's what he wanted to do, and just say, look guys, you know, the ants are going to be put on the shelf now. You know, I've done this for so long, or, you know, it's not going to be as frequent or whatever, because I've got to do this. Or you will have a different type of video. Like, maybe he should think about sort of like outsourcing some of it, or creating like, you know, another way. Like, he's at that scale now where he could easily, like, if you look at some of the new TV channels that are out, he could easily set up a TV channel and just get like loads of bring, like, basically be like an agent, bring on his own little like ant keepers, and be like, hey, look, here's your budget to produce this show, but it has to be to this quality, and and run through whatever, and you know, then he'll be like, hey guys, look, this is what I've got now. It's the Ants Canada Ants channel, like, do you know what I mean? And I guarantee you he'll still get like tons of followers, but he's at that scale where he can make something like that happen. And if that's what he needs to do, is to sort of hand over that sort of responsibility to it, because it's not something that's for him anymore, or what he's interested in, or what he wants to put his time into, then you know, he could still find ways to adapt, rather than sort of, I feel, what he has been doing, which I'm not necessarily going to agree with it, but I'm not going to like bag on the guy for it, but I'm just not going to say it's what I think it should be like.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just looking back through going back through the comments quickly, making sure I haven't missed anything. No, I haven't missed anything. Just drop the phone. We were in the middle of the quiz. Do we fancy a few more questions?
Yeah, let's carry on with the quiz. I don't know where we went with the quiz. It kind of took a road down the right. Just.
What did Al Capone's business card state his occupation was? That's an interesting one.
That is an interesting one.
You'll probably, when I say it, you'll be like, okay, actually, I've heard of that before.
Don't know.
Anyone in the chat want to have a little go at that?
A businessman? I'm joking.
Not far off, yeah.
Car salesman?
Really, really close. Adam saying doctor. It wasn't a doctor. Could you imagine Al Capone turning up? I'm a doctor.
Well, he definitely did surgery on people.
Yeah.
Taylor.
No. I'm going to come out with it in about 30 seconds.
Go on, I think you're gonna have to hit us with it. I genuinely don't know that one.
A used furniture salesman.
Fair play.
Furniture dealer. Crazy Antics said furniture dealer, yeah.
Oh yeah, you had it, yeah.
Yeah, I have
That's
heard of that before, furniture sale, yeah. What is the world's smallest bird?
Smallest bird. Is it the hummingbird?
It is, yes, hummingbird. Well done. I've got a couple more questions here. Some of them are complete lunacy, so I'm not gonna.
I think lunacy are the best ones. You actually learn something.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
I
that's
didn't know that
fair.
his business. I didn't know about the business card of Al Capone, so I was taking a stab in the dark, like it's a second car salesperson or something like that. Something that ends up crushed. Kind of, it works.
What sport did Neil Adams excel in? No idea who he is.
Well, he didn't walk on the moon because that was Neil Armstrong. So,
That was Neil Armstrong, yeah.
Javelin,
Judo.
judo. Oh, I should have actually known that.
Yeah, are you big into judo?
Oh, I used to be when I was younger. I actually trained for the Junior Olympics.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I didn't get in there. Like, there was this other kid in my class. Well, in my dojo junior, like he smashed it and he went and did it. So.
Still fair play to you for getting to that level.
Yeah. I enjoyed it, man. I had to do like a 24-hour judo competition and all that kind of stuff.
24-hour.
Yeah, it was a 24-hour judo competition, and it was like literally you slept between fights and
Wow.
carried on going, and it was like a proper stamina test, like.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've seen stuff like that with boxing matches where you have like 6 or 7 in a night sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's hard work.
Well, we had like 4 clubs, and you basically had to go through the fighters of the clubs. So like everyone like took turns at getting their fights. So like you'd have like maybe like an hour or 2 hours between your thing. You'd sleep, and then there was like a larger gap where you actually had to get proper sleep because we were still under 18 at the time.
Wow. That's really hard on the body. Really hard. Like waking up and going straight into it sort of thing. Really difficult.
Yeah. But that's sort of the discipline of it, and you know, something I was quite proud of being part of. Like, it definitely spurred me on in life for having that experience.
Yeah, definitely. I think it like hardens you a bit as well. Not like strength wise, but mentally. Like when challenges come up against you, you just kind of push through a bit harder. I find that's definitely what boxing gave to me, anyways.
Yeah, I think all martial arts and stuff like that, they do teach that discipline. They do teach you sort of, get into what you think is your boundary and pushing past it. I think it wouldn't be a good martial art if it didn't, because it's one of the whole thing about a martial art is becoming a master of your art. So it's sort of mastering that cadre that you do.
They say it's like 10,000 hours or something, isn't it, to become like...
Yeah, 10,000 hours to be a professional. They say on average, if you do something for 10,000 hours, then you're sort of like basic level professional.
Well, you should be well practiced at it by that point.
Yeah.
Here's an easy question for everyone to answer. If you don't get it right, I'm slightly disappointed. Apart from Ant Warrior, I'll let you off. Who sang the song "Losing My Religion"? That is easy, especially if you grew up in the 90s or early 2000s.
I did, but I'm just rubbish with band names. Like,
it was a hit on the same year I was born, 1991.
1991.
What a classic song as well.
I'm gonna go with what these lot are saying, that it's REM.
Yeah, it is REM, and Warrior had no idea. Yeah. Amazing band. Warrior, if you haven't heard of REM, look them up.
I'm trying to think what it was called. Was it "I'm Sorry"? Is that by REM? Or
not sure.
So I'm so bad with the names. I normally just remember the chorus.
End of the World as We Know It, and they did loads of great songs.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the name of the band with the members John Deacon and Roger Taylor?
John Deacon and Roger Taylor.
One of the biggest bands ever.
I'm just gonna go with what Kat said. Shiny Happy People.
Yes, that's a great song, Shiny Happy People.
Yeah.
They
I
did
know,
that
I'm
in collaboration with the ones which did Love Shack. I can't remember who they're called, what they're called.
Oh yeah, that's another brilliant song, Love Shack. Love
Yeah.
Shack in the love. Oh man, that's taking me back to my childhood there, man.
I got you singing on stream.
And I can't sing to save my life. I apologize for all of you that are having a
No,
brain.
it's fine. They normally put up with me singing and dancing and having all sorts of madness to myself.
And in deck. Do you know what? Yeah, I feel so bad because I've terrorized those guys throughout my life. Like I genuinely have. And I better know them as PJ and Duncan if you really want to terrorize them.
Yes,
They
you
live
do, Duncan.
a couple doors down from my friend's house. So my entire teenage years, I literally every time I saw them, I was just like PJ and Duncan, like terrorized. And then one day I was working at the BAFTAs and they popped round the corner, and like they see me there smiling at them, and they was like, "How on earth did you get in here?" And I was like, "Well."
Brilliant.
You're not gonna escape me now. And they both looked so depressed, man. Oh, the joy.
I like their bit where they tell people to do silly things, don't they? Like
Yeah,
a microphone in the ear. That's brilliant. I think that's brilliant. I definitely need that on the show.
100%, man.
So going back to the question, John Deacon and Roger Taylor. It is not the Eagles, Katrina. Ant Warrior, well done. It is Queen, joined by Brian May and Freddie Mercury. John Deacon was the bassist.
See, I'm rubbish with the names of stuff. Like even celebrities, when I get a job to like look after them, I often have to be like, which one's that?
Yeah, I'm not.
And they're from like this movie, that movie, or whatever. Like half the time, I just have no clue.
I'm normally pretty bad. My kind of thing is I get confused. So if I see like Johnny Depp, he was the pirate guy for ages, wasn't he? Now if I see him in another film, I'm like, why is he not a pirate anymore? Like, because in my head, he is that guy. He is a pirate. It's like if I see Harrison Ford in Star Wars and then I go and watch Indiana Jones, it just confuses the hell out of me.
Yeah, man. Like, what's Han Solo doing?
Yeah, exactly. What's going on here?
Why is he being chased by Nazis? Stormtroopers have changed.
Oh dear.
To be fair, it basically is just like Han Solo is basically like him from.
It is, yeah. Have you seen that they put in? I think it's the Lost Ark or one of those films. They've got a symbol of R2D2 and 3CPO.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, on the side of the Ark, like the Ark of the Covenant or something, they've got a little detail of it, and it was like a shout out to the Star Wars.
Proper little Easter egg, like yeah, I like that.
Yeah, they like doing things like that, especially Star Wars. They're great for Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Last few questions. So, in the 1960s, which American pop group created the surfing sound?
The surfing sound?
It's quite an easy one if you think about it.
Beach Boys?
It was the Beach
Monkeys.
Boys. Yeah. I like the Beach Boys. They're one I can listen to quite a lot.
Yeah, they got some good tunes.
Yeah, definitely.
Classics.
Right. Here's a hard one. This is going to be a bit of a long one. Name the countries on where you can find these landmarks. So, the pyramids. Who knows where we can find the pyramids?
Yeah, Egypt.
Egypt. The Colosseum.
Rome.
Rome, yeah. I can never pronounce it. Angkor Wat.
That is in where I really want to go. not Philippines. It's in Peru.
No,
No.
not quite.
It's in one of the South American countries, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's in. Oh, wait, I'm getting it confused.
You're on the wrong side of the world.
No, because there's two temples that are very similar, which I really want to go to. One's Angkor Wat, and the other one.
Andy Matten's saying Polynesia. Adam saying China.
Cambodia.
It is Cambodia. Well done.
I know
Yeah,
it's good,
Cambodia.
I was trying to think which one was it. I was going through my head. I was like, it's not Philippines, it's not Malaysia. It's one of them.
It's an amazing temple. I think it was actually built as a temple, and then the city around it is much larger and hasn't been excavated. But,
Yeah.
From what I remember, the actual site itself is absolutely massive.
Yeah, they're still mapping it now. They did a load of 3D mapping, and they found out there's like tons more of it mapped out, and they found like
That's it,
satellite
yeah.
mapping which maps out even more of it. So it's like they know a lot more in detail now, but they said like, you know, it's still going to take a few more years to gather all the data.
Does anyone know where the Taj Mahal is? That's an easy one.
India.
It is in India, yeah. I'm going to have to pronounce this right. Gooch Tower. Juche. Gooch Tower. Gooch.
Germany.
I'll put it up on the screen.
Parlez-vous français? I'm trying to think. The Juche Tower. Depends on what language that J belongs to, because that could be a H, or that could be
it could, yeah.
So
Crazy Antics says Taiwan, Antimatter says Turkey. Not right yet. I'm going to say it's not one we probably know of, to be honest, because it's
is it Latin American, or is it
no, it's over in Asia. That's the hint.
Asia? I was going to say Korea.
Yeah, Crazy Antics has just put it in as well.
Yeah.
North Korea. So, like I say, it wouldn't surprise me if we don't know that one, because I don't know much about what's in North Korea. I know there's North Korea.
I know that there's Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, there's that, and there's lots of big empty roads.
Actually just successfully tested their first ballistic missile.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's quite scary, let's be honest, but they've always...
I don't know, man, he's still like years. I mean, the guy's only just developed a working missile. Like, trust me, like the rest of the world is like, oh, ain't that cute? Look at him. He's gonna be leaving nursery next year.
Yeah.
America's still there, like, wait till I get out of high school.
Oh, dear. Right. No, that's an awful question. God. Some of these questions, if they don't make sense to me, I can't read them, can I?
I don't know, try us.
Right.
Let's see what
here's a good
one
one.
doesn't make sense.
Which actor played James Bond before Daniel Craig?
Who played James Bond before Daniel Craig? It wasn't Pierce Brosnan, was it? No. Or someone after Pierce Brosnan. I think.
It was Pierce.
Oh,
See,
was it
whenever I think of Bond, that's the Bond I think of.
Nah, for me it's Sean Connery, man.
Yeah, see, I think, like you say, it's that generational thing.
Yeah, I mean, Pierce was like sort of 90s, 2000s when he like. I just lost total respect for him when like he did that thing where he walked up to the plane ring. You could clearly see that his body double that rolled underneath it, and then like he made out like he stood back up and like done up his bow tie or something, and I was like, that is hilarious.
Yeah.
But,
which board game consists of 40 spaces, 28 properties, and 4 railroads?
or wouldn't that have to be Monopoly?
That is Monopoly. That's a pretty easy one, actually, isn't it? Okay.
The game.
In which game do you have to collect as many marbles as possible?
But marbles,
with a hippo?
Oh, with a hippo. Oh, fuck, happy hippo.
If I left that last bit out, it could have been anything.
Well, yeah, because there's that one where you pull all the sticks out as well, and
Yeah,
what?
what's that? Kaplunk.
Yeah, Kaplunk.
Yeah, that's not right game. I play a lot of these things with my kids, actually.
I remember playing
I'm
Marvel.
really good at Hungry
Okay.
Hippos. You got to work out, like, if you prep the table, right? So you got to prep the table, right, if you're setting up for Hungry Hippos. The way you
Yeah,
do
so it
that,
tilts
you
to
get,
everyone else.
yeah, you get like a little coaster or something and put it under
Stick a
their
penny
edge,
under it.
and then all the balls roll down into yours, and you win every time.
That's definitely one way to do it.
The day my kids beat me, the day they work out I've been cheating the whole time.
Just see you there with a spirit level, like, yep, no, we're in play.
Yeah. It gets to that point. Like, my kids know what I'm like. They're like, Daddy, stop it. We know what you're planning. I can come in the room, and if I've got a smile on my face, they tell me off.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. You gotta have fun with them. You know, they're not old enough to work yet, so they gotta be funny.
Yeah. They have to work for food.
Yeah, that's it. I said, like, we had a friend of them staying over the whole weekend, Easter and everything. And I said, it's not going to be long before I start charging rent. I don't mind kids, but yeah, I could do with that extra rent money.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I say
Right.
to the spiders that live in the front room. Like, they all have lease agreements, yeah. And if they don't keep to their little lease agreements, then they become ant food.
Yeah, too right.
You know, so
Although-
sometimes they put in permissions and they're just like, may I have this corner, please, where I'm not going to trouble anyone. I'm like, yeah, you may have that corner. And then it moves across and it's like, I'm just expanding my property. And I was like, whoa. There was no planning permission put in for this. Like, I didn't sign this off. Like, no, this isn't how it works. And then I'm like, I come back and it's like, it's got even bigger. And I'm like, no, that's it. Sorry, you've broke the law. You are going to see the lawmakers, and the lawmakers will feast upon you. This
that's
Tory
kind of
rule.
that's kind of a breakdown of how my wife moved into our house. Like, you can have that small shelf over there, and then it was like, oh, I need this extra shelf, and now I need the whole cupboard.
Oh,
Now I'm just
that's
going to move it because it's
yeah.
easier to live here than have to go back all the time. It's fine. It's fine. Gave up all my free space and ended up with 3 children.
You can't knock it, man.
Nah, I love them. You know that. Last couple of questions. In alphabetical order, can you name the 3 particles that make up an atom?
In alphabetical order.
Yeah, that messes with it, doesn't it?
Electron.
Electron is first, yeah.
Neutron.
Yeah,
Proton.
well done. Smashed it.
Wait.
But it's not as easy as it should be.
Nope.
Just kind of took it out of there. But that's the end of the quiz. I'm going to leave it at that.
Encore. We should have one more.
I'm just going back through. I am an evil parent, Ant Warrior. Thank you. When you're a parent, you'll fully understand that every parent has a right to be evil.
I am about as evil as Gru without any minions in my life.
Yeah, I am. Like, I think it's important. I'm really nice to my kids, but I think it's important to show them how hard life is going to be.
Oh yeah, don't sugarcoat it, man, because they're just gonna have more of a shock when they become adults. It's like,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the main things I've tried to do with my kids is if I give them pocket money, I don't want them to go spend £1 on sweets or whatever. I want them to go and buy the penny sweets and try and make it work. Or my oldest, if I give her a £1 coin and say, go buy yourself something in the shop, she'll go in and look for the multi-pack deals. And she'll come out with like a whole packet of ice creams for £1. And be like, well, these are all mine, so I can have them whenever. Okay, you've outsmarted us there.
see, now the real one is to tell her to go in to do that and come back with £2.
Yeah, if they can do that, they will all have
Stage
it.
2 of having a capitalist child, 2022.
You got to pull the puppy dog eyes.
Yeah, see, the thing is, my daughter's still at that age where I give her £1, she goes in and somehow, like, she gives the person at the counter this look, and they're just like, oh, no, you can have that item, don't worry about it. It's just like, woo, win.
Yeah.
I'm just
Why
like,
doesn't that
"Oh,
happen later in life? I'm still cute.
hey, it seems to happen for the other sex, but definitely not for us. Like, go to a bar with a woman and see how many drinks you get.
Well, I've always said if I was a woman, I would use it to my advantage. Right?
Why
I'm
not?
not trying to be offensive to women right now. I'm not saying that they do or anything, but I definitely would. I wouldn't mind like being called all the names under the sun. I would make my way through life being a woman.
Yeah, why not, man? Why not?
Simple as that.
Use what you got in life. That's what I would say.
Yeah, definitely. If you've got it, flaunt it, and whatever they say. I don't have it, so I don't flaunt it. My dad makes look for the best deal. It's like a maths lesson. Yeah, it should be a maths lesson every time you walk into a shop, Aunt Warrior. Too right. Try coming shopping with me.
Nowadays, with the price of everything, I go around with a calculator going, how much?
Yeah. I literally count
I
as
still got to get fuel.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, when you're living on it's not even a budget anymore. It's not even like we're living on a budget. It's literally like that money has to go there. That money has to go there, and then by the end of it, you've got nothing left anyways.
No, there used to be a budget. Now there's just how much will the bank lend me until I go under?
Yeah. How much can I get until when? Yeah.
Yeah. How much debt can I get into before they realize I completely.
Yeah. So I'm really lucky, Crazy Antics. I don't drive, so I don't have any fuel costs. But
See,
if I go and get a taxi or everything's gone up, the only time I save money there is on my cycling. I cycle everywhere basically. Even if I have to cycle like 30 miles there and back, I'll do it.
See, I got the dirty diesel where I was like, hey, I'm being smart. I'm getting more miles to the gallon now. And then suddenly it was like, nope, you're going to get slapped even harder for being a diesel.
Yeah, that's it, because they're getting rid of diesels altogether, aren't they?
Yeah. And they've just like changed the tax on them as well. So you're like taxed by how much pollutants it puts out or something.
Right.
It's just like, I already paid like £500 for road tax. Like, it's going to be like £1,000 or something next time I go to pay for road tax. And it's like, this is road tax. Like, seriously, I pay tax from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed and still pay tax in my sleep. Like, leave me alone, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, everything I buy is taxed. Like, everything I do is taxed. Every bit I earn is taxed. Come on.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Something definitely needs to change, because I think
it's the British way, man. We wouldn't have the slogan "born free and taxed to death" otherwise.
Well,
it's just now it's getting bad, like, and we're not even getting benefits for it. At least, like, I know everyone hates Tony Blair and they blame him as a war criminal or whatever, but like, genuinely, the way he ran the country back then, the country never had it so good. And like, people are like, oh, tax was high then. Tax was high, yeah. But look how cheap the cost of living was, because all our taxes went into public bodies, as in public train, public water.
Yeah.
So we got all of that subsidized with the taxes that we were paying. So basically, we were paying a very, very small amount for a very big service each, and then complaining about it. And now all of that's privatized. So we're paying a massive amount, which goes to shareholders who already have a massive amount.
Yeah.
The service ain't getting any better, but the costs are going up because it's all about profits, not about, sustaining the system.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've said that actually a lot lately, that the price is going up, but like you say, the service hasn't improved in anything. And
what the problem is now, they privatize the rail system. The rail networks will need to be upgraded.
Yeah.
And they're saying, well, that's a taxpayer's problem. Well, no, you bought it as a private company. It's a you problem. It's like, well, how are you going to convince us to spend our profits on sorting it out when we're saying it's not an us problem, it's a you problem? We still convince you to pay taxes into a system that's privately owned. So, hey, we're just bumping up our profits left, right, and center and charging you through the nose for a broken system.
Yeah. And it's not right, really, is it?
That's capitalism, sadly. That is capitalism.
That's the world we live in, though, isn't it? Something needs to change, but I don't know if it ever will.
Oh, well, you say that, you never know, man. I mean, we could be living on a scary time of a great reset soon. It could all go up.
Yeah. I mean, the start of World War I and World War II, everything was changing, so it might be us as well,
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, just before both of those wars, it was like mass depressions as well, which is just what we've suffered. You
Yes.
know, and if you look at the companies that sort of became big in World War One and World War Two, they're the big multinational corporations that you see now, and they suddenly
Yeah.
realized, hold on a second, that a war economy is a very profitable economy for them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the war economy is massively profitable to them. All right, I'm just going back through the chat. Don't think we've missed anything. If anyone has any questions for JB, please do send them in because I don't know. You're going to be very busy for a while again, aren't you, JB?
Yeah, I'm only at home today, and then I'm back off again.
Yeah. So it's been absolutely amazing that you came on. Honestly, I can't thank you enough.
Oh, it was good to get on, man. I mean, when I saw the time after I finished recording the Solenopsis, I was like, maybe I missed it. These things happen between 8 and 9. So
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
to get on
So,
and catch up.
we start the show generally at 8:30 with the pre-show feeding, but we don't normally start talking till 9. Quite often we go on. Well, we normally go on till 11, but quite often we go on till midnight or whatever. Just whenever I shut up, basically.
That's good. That's all right.
Yeah.
You want in
Yeah,
the
I
show?
mean, some nights we have like it's just such a great community that I struggle to leave them. You know what I mean? I really struggle to say goodbye to everyone because they're all so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're there, why not? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, well, it's a lock in at the pub now, lads. If you didn't go home before, you're at the
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it feels like. Oh, I do not miss the lock-ins. Like I used to work as a barman, and the boss would be like, "Look, we're having the lock-in tonight. You're going to work, aren't you?" Like, oh no! So I don't drink. I have to stay up all night.
See, I was the other side of the bar, man. I was just like, rack 'em in.
Yeah.
Let's get going. Tequila. 1, 2, 3, floor.
Yeah. See, I was like that, but I stopped drinking when I was actually working in the pub because it was like it just got too much. You know, everyone was like, "Oh, have a drink," and no, it just got too much.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. It's like borderline alcoholism. Like,
Yeah. Like I've got a very addictive personality as it is, so we don't want to tempt fate too much.
yeah, as I've got older now, like especially through like things I've been through in my life, it was kind of like, yeah, got kids now and that. I still socially drink, like, but I haven't had a legless night in a long time. But nowadays, I don't know if it's an age thing, but like I used to get up in the morning after a heavy night drinking, and I could do like a 5 mile run and just be like, that was nothing, it's fine. Now, the next 4 days, death has dragged me down into his cell and is just abusing every human right I have. Why I'm slowly dying of some kind of death that doesn't exist, and my soul is just being tormented. I don't even know what it is anymore. I wouldn't even call it a hangover. It is literally a death and rebirth, because 4 days later you're just like, oh my god, how did I survive that? I've just been taken by the Taliban.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's horrible at our age. I don't know what, like you say, when we were younger, I could go out and drink, get up the next day, do what I need to do, and then go drink some more. Now, it's like, I wouldn't even think about getting out of bed for a few days, like you say.
Yeah, it's just death, man.
Yeah. I'm glad I don't drink because when I do all my athlete stuff, some of them test you, and if you've had alcohol in like the last 4 weeks, they won't let you compete and things like that.
Yeah, there was a job that I did, and they were like, "Oh, we test your blood, but you need to have been clean of any prescription drugs or alcohol for 12 months."
Wow.
And I was like, "Wow, I don't know who you're gonna find nowadays, especially in my career, who hasn't had prescription drugs or alcohol."
I mean, you eat the right ready meal, and you'll probably flag up on it.
Oh yeah, man, just have something with a ton of poppy seeds in it, but everyone takes a paracetamol and ibuprofen every now and then. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
you know, they still pop up because it'll pop up as opiates, isn't it? So
yeah, definitely, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't think that's ever been an issue for me, but I am on medication anyways, and like I have to make all the competitions aware of what I'm on and my health conditions and stuff.
yeah, I mean, with me after I got injured, they were a bit like, "Hey, there's this stuff called Coca-Cola. It's highly addictive, and you shouldn't take it, but we want you to take it for the rest of your life."
Yeah,
And it's like,
yeah,
whoa, what do you mean? Like, I don't want to be reliant on this stuff. Like,
when I was first diagnosed, I spent just over a year in the hospital, and I was on Oromorph the whole time.
Oh wow, yeah, that's like morphine, isn't it? Basically.
Yeah, that's like the step under morphine. And coming
Yeah,
off it, like I was having withdrawal symptoms and sweating, and it was a proper, you had to literally break the cycle of having it. It was weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't realize how much it had affected me, but yeah.
Yeah, I literally only take painkillers now when like the pain barrier gets past. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
just be taking them all day, every day. Like, and
Yeah,
they
see,
just become ineffective at that point as well. It's kind of you're just killing your liver and kidneys for no reason.
Yeah. See, I try not to take them. I'd rather go to hospital and have them inject me with something than take more pills. But again, that's because I'm on such a high dose of medication already. Like you say, it screws your liver, your stomach. I have to take 2 pills just to counteract the bad effects it's having on my body of all the other pills.
Yeah. You never want to be in that situation. That's not
and
a
then,
nice place to be, man.
I mean, I've lost all my teeth. You might know, I quite often say I've got no teeth at all, and that is because of the bad effects of medication as well.
Oh yeah, I'd say the same. Like from where I was taking Coca-Cola and ibuprofen so much, it like damaged my stomach. I was throwing up a lot after meals and stuff.
Yeah.
And like that caused a lot of like erosion and corrosion
Yes,
to
it
my
does,
teeth.
yeah.
So
Yeah. It's a weird one, isn't it? But
yeah, unfortunately.
got to do these things to get better sometimes.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Half our cures are just another way to stay ill on something else, man. That's why I say like our pharmaceutical industry is terrible because they really don't want to cure the problem. They're just like, how much money can we make off these opiates? And this is legal, right? So those heroin dealers over there, yeah, they're bad, but we're good, right? Yeah, no, that's what you tell everyone that we're good. We're the good guys. Yeah, you take that heroin and the pill, my friend. That's good heroin. Like that's bad heroin. Don't take that shit.
Yeah, no, that's completely right. I don't agree with like because when I was given Oromorph, I wasn't told anything about it. Right, it was an opiate or anything, and I wasn't really in a place to be told about it either. I was pretty much dying. But looking back on it, I probably would have said no. Don't put me on it for a whole year.
Sometimes you need something.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
from the dawn of humankind, we've messed with some kind of drug because the truth is like reality is harsh. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, no matter what, whether it's to like take time out to heal up or take time out for whatever, like reality is harsh, and everyone tends to have some kind of kink. And if you got those people that are like, yeah, I don't take nothing, like I don't even take a prescription pill. It's like, yeah, that's why you got OCD and meddling. Like those people are always high strung. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, yeah, I can see why you don't drink, don't take medication, don't do whatever. It's because you are already high as hell.
Because you're already there, yeah.
Like reality broke you, didn't it? Like,
yeah. See, I try and avoid more pills if I can. I'm on 20 something pills a day at the moment, and injections every month and all sorts.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. But if it keeps you alive, that's
it. It's keeping me alive. I'm hoping that, like you said earlier, because of the COVID, they've started researching my illness a bit more. Years and years ago, they basically decided there's no cure for it, and they just gave up.
and then the pharmaceuticals move in. It's like, here, slip this. Oh, will that fix it? No, it'll make you forget that you need to fix it.
Yeah, that's all right. We could deal with that. There's no support or no funding, no research or anything happening for my condition. So hopefully it might spur them to do something a bit better into it.
What's the name of your condition, if you don't mind me asking?
I've got bronchiectasis, which is the brother disease to cystic fibrosis.
Okay.
I've also got emphysema, a blood disorder called recurrent henochylene purpura. I've got osteoporosis, and a few other things.
Wow, man.
Yeah. So I'm falling apart all in all.
I mean, I got osteoporosis on my legs, so I know.
Yeah, osteoporosis sucks.
Yeah. Hollowing of the bone, man, makes it very brittle.
Yeah, that's it. So when I go into a boxing match, they're like, should you really be here? I'm like, no, but I'm here.
No, you're going to have to break me. Listen to the sound.
Yeah, pretty much. When I did my last strongman competition, I went to do the overhead press and my shoulder literally popped out. And after the event, I went over to like the medical guy and I was like, "Oh, do you mind just like giving it like a rub, making sure it's gone back into its place properly?" And he was
Yeah.
looking at me like, "You really shouldn't be competing. I would highly advise against it." I was like, "Yeah, but I'm already here. This is what I do." I don't mind. I've always said I'll do it up until the point I can't do it anymore, and then I'll just stop, won't I?
Yeah. But how do you know you've got to the point where it's like beyond sort of
Well,
healthy?
that's it. When I
What is your
can't literally do it anymore, like it's hard to explain, but some days, right, I can get into the gym and I'll lift 100 kilograms and it will feel light and easy. The next day, I can do exactly the same and it feels hard and heavy and so much more energy. And it all depends on how my body is feeling at the time. But I know I'm getting to the point now where my body's starting to decline anyways. Like most people in my condition die at about my age now. So I'm starting to hit that downwards road. So I've always sort of said, if I can't, at this point in time, if you said run a marathon, I could go and run a marathon without thinking about it. If I get to the point where I can't just drop a hat and run, I've got to seriously rethink my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah. Because it's like I see myself as an elite athlete. If I drop from that status, then I'm sort of something's going wrong. But I'm not going to stay at this point for ages. I know that. I'm currently the only person in the world who competes in boxing, triathlon, and strongman.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's good fun. I enjoy it. I'm no good at it. Don't get me wrong. I never win, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, well, you can't say you're not good at it, man. I mean, everyone has like their own sort of goal. Do you know that you know what I mean? You're breaking your own records, so who do you have to prove it?
That's
You know what
it.
I mean? If that's where you rank in it, then as long as you're satisfied with what you're achieving and you know that you're in a happy place and you enjoy doing it, man, then that's what it's about. Like, do you know what I mean? 100%. That's always been my sort of idea to stuff. I suppose it's why I've never been a massive fan of competitive sports, but it's kind of like, you know, it's you appreciate everyone for what they do rather than you know, try and set it.
Strongman is so much like that. Everyone, like, you're competing against other people, but they're the most supportive people in the world, if you know what I mean. They all turn around.
Yeah, I've noticed that, like, from when I've been around people who are in the sport and sort of how they are with people and each other and stuff like that. Very humble. So you know, it's amazing to see that. A lot of great sportsmanship is what I'd say you get out of that sort of like industry.
Which is really not like I've spent my last probably 6 years like highly in the strongman community, and like that was what I was used to. Like everyone's so nice and helpful, and and like bringing that over to the ant world has been a little bit iffy, we could say.
I mean, I had a lot of like bumps in the road in the beginning because, like, you know, I really tried to push that sort of like community thing, and it really puzzled me that, like, for a hobby that's about keeping a species that's built around community, like, why is there like, or what felt like at the time either such a fractured or non-existent community? It was like, you know, I didn't feel like much was like joined together, and it was like sort of like seeing that all form and finding people who had like that same sort of belief and passion, and then seeing things grow. And you know, even while I haven't, I'm not saying I started it by any means, but I'd definitely say like it's been really nice to watch the whole group of people, I would say, who had the same sort of ideas, like putting stuff together and going out and seeing a whole new branch of the community formed from it. Like I definitely see now in like the last few years there's a lot more people working together than there was like a couple of years ago even.
I think that's really right. Like I would say it's a massive part down to you, to be honest, JB, because you were there at the start when we all started kind of trying to form this community and get these ideas rolling and things like that. I'd say a lot of it
but that's the whole thing about a community, man. You can't do it alone. Do you know what I mean? So like, and like I could only take it so far with what I wanted, and like I felt like, you know, I hit a lot of brick walls, but then, you know, there was a little group that was formed and it wasn't just me trying to build something. It was these same people who felt the same way, who wanted to
Yeah.
see the same thing, and that was like the birth of the community. And what that's become now, if you look at all the little sort of like group channels, the live chats, they're all community based. They're all about
Yeah.
bringing this community together, and there's all these people working together to make it happen. Finally, it's like it feels like that barrier's been broken. And
Yeah.
in the beginning, it was more about trying to break that barrier, and everyone was like, "No, who are you? This is my thing." And there seemed to be this whole thing. Well, me and you can't have the same subs, and it's like, well, logically, if you think about it,
Yeah,
like
everyone
we're
has.
not competing with each other. Like someone who likes my stuff will like your stuff.
Yeah.
They'll either sub to us or they won't. Like, there's not really a competition for us to try and gain that. So I don't really see why people felt there was. Do you know what I mean? It was more just like, we've got stuff to share rather than compete with, and it was breaking down that kind of like YouTube culture. I'd say it more was than an ant keeping culture, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Like, it's something I always try and say. Like, there's no point in competing. Like you say, we all share subs. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But there is that. I don't know how to say it. There is people out there who see it as a competition, and I think I've just tried to distance myself from them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, you'll get the people who are team players, and you'll get the people who simply aren't. And I think that's going to be prevalent in any hobby. But it's nice to see that sort of the community side of it has definitely been strengthened and bolstered by that movement. And yeah, the movement has had its wobbles and its witch hunts and its all sorts of crazy sort of drama or entertainment, and sort of you started to get more people sort of creating causes and stuff like that, which
Yeah.
you could say it has its positive and negative thing, but at the end of the day, it adds such a huge element to the community or to the hobby, and it brings in so much more. A personal aspect. I think like I felt there was a lot of personal aspect missing, and sort of when you get content creators just putting themselves out there, it's very different to when you have content creators who work together and sort of they give you a bigger insight into each other, because you get to know these people through the people that are getting to know each
Yeah.
other. If you get what I mean, like
Yeah.
me and you will be on this channel now, chatting to each other, getting to know more personal things about each other, talking about stuff, and as a wider result of that, as the community gets to know
Yeah.
us better, and we get to know them better because they're a part of that.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
it was kind of like that's what I feel really the overall outcome of that movement and that sort of like that community that's been built. That's what's being created from that, and that's quite amazing to see.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I agree. Excuse me, just cough in a minute.
There was Good night, Stacey. And there was a question from Ant Warrior.
Yes,
So if you want
I've got it
to
here.
hit that one.
Rank your 3 favorite colonies and explain why you like them. What's the hardest thing about keeping them, and are they rare or common?
Oh,
Wow.
who
I'll
wants to
let
go?
you take that one.
Me. Oh, okay. So as I said before, the Polyacres dives. I'd say they're my number one because I feel personally like I've had quite an amazing journey with them. I've got to see quite intricately using that pod how they build their nests, and sort of like even the crazy little detailed things. If you look at how they allow ventilation through the chambers and stuff like that by the way
Yeah.
they shape them, and just how they encourage that kind of stuff, and quite amazingly the structures that they can build simply using their young to weave. I'd say they're intermediate keeping because they're very hard to start off, but once they're going and you've got a good colony, they will just go. Like there's you can go wrong and they will survive. Do you know what I mean? Unless you've like
Yeah.
gone ice cold or something like that. As long as you sort of maintain that rough temperature gap and you give them the environment they want, they will just thrive. But it's that beginning stage that's very hit and miss. I wouldn't say they're a common species. I wouldn't say they're a rare species either. I'd say that they're sort of like mid-range on the sort of like if you're going to be importing species, especially in the UK, I'd say they're more common in the imports, but they're sort of rare worldwide.
which is funny, really. But yes, I agree.
I don't know what would be my next one. I'd
hard
say
to
the Acromyrmex octospinosus. Again,
Right.
I've had quite a journey with them, very up and down. You know, I've made mistakes. I've managed to save them. They've just done crazy stuff, which has, you know, made it very difficult to keep them. There's been lots of environmental stuff to get my head around and understand and sort of control, like especially in the summers or the winters, is keeping them to the right temperature. You know, not too hot, not too cold. You know, I'd say again, they're an intermediate species. Once you get them going, as long as you get past that survival bit, they tend to be quite forgiving. And you know, they're just a very impressive species. I would say they're definitely on the rare side of keeping, although a lot more people now are keeping them, especially with, like, you know, Tom from um sorry, I've got something stuck in my throat.
That's all right.
Especially Tom from giving out like all the colonies that he did with YouTubers and stuff like that. A lot more people are getting to experience sort of the leaf cutter side and keep it going, and you know, that's been sort of amazing to see as well. So
Yeah, these cutters are awesome.
yeah, they are. Trying to think what the third one could be. I'm kind of going for all the interesting one, really, like the right to
Yeah,
the
well, I think that's standard, really, isn't it?
yeah. I'd say right to the Panera. I'd say they're rare because, you know, they're even becoming rare in Australia.
Yeah,
Not many people keep the species. They're not actually that difficult to keep. Again, hit and miss on the beginning stage, but I think you're going to get that with every species.
yeah,
You know, once the colony gets to a certain size, there is this sort of resilience that is built up where, you know, it's less likely to go wrong. And not only that, if it does start to go wrong, the signs are a lot quicker to see, so you can correct it, because you'll start to see workers die off, but you'll have that bit on, there'll still be enough of the colony to come back or gather resources or come back from whatever has gone wrong. So again, it's just that resilience is built in from time and size. The hardest thing about keeping them is sort of the humidity, really. Again, that same with all of them, really. The
yeah,
Polyacres, like, it's very individual per colony. The Acromyrmex, you know, you're looking at the fungus, so you know, you really want to keep a high humidity, but then you don't want to have too much that they're sort of drowning in condensation. You don't want too little that the fungus can't survive. And then same with the Rhytida panera, they like it quite arid, but you still need sort of, you know, a
you still
decent
need
amount of
water.
humidity for them to survive.
Yeah,
Yeah, because otherwise they will just sort of dry out and die. But a lot of that, it depends on what your setup you're going for, what materials you're using. So like the difficulty really could be that, you know, you've put them in an acrylic nest and that colony just isn't going to survive in it. But then vice versa, you could do the same thing with another material, and it go either way. So yeah, it's a hard one. There's so many factors that ain't keeping,
yeah,
that trying to just put one factor in to say that's what makes it difficult or that's what makes it easy is going to be
yeah,
very individual to each person that's kept them and what they've kept them in, sort of, and how the colony's progressed.
definitely. Whilst you were explaining your answer, I thought of my answer. So my outright favourite, I think I've probably said it a million times, are army ants. I can't pronounce it. Eki, whatever, the proper army ants.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome. Very, very difficult species to keep, pretty much impossible to keep. I hope to keep them one day, but my plan is basically to buy a big enough house that I can take up all the floorboards, replace it with glass, and have the whole underfloor of my house as a roaming area for them.
That'd be epic.
It really would, but that's the only way I can see of giving them enough space, because they need to be able to roam, you know, really far. So yeah, I'm thinking a massive underfloor formicarium sort of thing.
Yeah, but that would be very difficult to sort of get in or maintain or.
Yeah, I know, and to be honest, that's why I haven't like started researching into it too much, because I know how difficult it's going to be. But I think it is doable. You just gotta. It would have to be done right.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like some of the things that they have in the wild, that when you bring them into sort of like captive keeping,
They
I
don't work.
suppose you could give them a range, but like I don't think they would necessarily need the distance, because like, a lot of the reason that they cover that distance is all to do with like the
Looking for
seasonal
food.
drought and food and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I think it's the drought that causes them to
Okay.
actually go on the move, and then that's why they kind of follow life as the drought goes, and it's kind of like an ant migration basically because of the hostile environment. So
Yeah.
and also it's all to do with like the crop seasons and stuff like that,
Yeah.
because like a lot of farmers will use them to get rid of the pests. 'Cause
pests
they won't
and
eat the
stuff,
crop,
yeah.
they'll eat all the insects on it. So again, I think their migration all comes into play with that. So you might not need the size, but you might need to sort of replicate a run where they would have to go from one side to the other, trying to
Yeah.
replicate that drought, and then
Wow.
just ensuring that they have enough food. I could imagine that they would just go like the amount of
Oh,
insects you need,
tons.
like you'd have to have like a proper industrial size
Yeah.
cockroach,
Feeding port.
because you'd
Yeah.
literally be farming them at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do farm thousands of roaches at the moment, but I expect I'd still need more.
Yeah, I mean, my colony, unfortunately, my other half was feeding all of the adults. So
Right.
now there's a bit of a generational gap between new ones being born and young ones needing to grow old. So
Yeah. 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 See, I think I've got a couple of thousand in there of varying sizes and whatnot. One thing I don't do, which I probably should, is I'm managing the numbers. You're supposed to have like 2 males for every 5 females or something like that, aren't you? I never bother.
no, I mean, I don't know what I've got, man. I just,
Chuck them in, yeah.
yeah, do you know what I mean? I just go by numbers. I'm just like, okay, so if I start from a batch of like 500 young, mixed with like 50 adults or 150 adults or whatever, then I know that I'm gonna have all the stages that I need, and they're just gonna do their thing. Like I didn't really see this whole like. I did see that if you keep the young in, it is longer between batches that they will lay.
Okay.
But that's not always a bad thing when you've got like 25 different females giving birth to like 100 young. It's kind of like, well, I'm not really that fussed about the numbers right now. I don't need that to speed up. That's fine at that pace because now I've got plenty to feed.
Yeah, I mean, mine just breed like crazy. I haven't had to buy more in a very long time.
The one thing I have noticed is that my Madagascan hissing roaches have definitely outbred, or at least outcompeted the dubia roaches.
Okay, I have heard that actually, that they do that, and red runners do as well. They eat like nuts.
Yeah, red runners. I'm not a fan of red runners, really.
Right?
I'm not. No, they're not. I can deal with the hissing ones, and I can deal with the dubias, but I just can't deal with the red runners. Brings too many memories back in the desert of like roaches trying to eat me alive, man, or jump into my mouth, which is absolutely horrific.
Yeah, I think that might traumatize me a bit as well, actually.
Yeah, I mean, literally, there was one point where I was out in Saudi Arabia and I was getting so miffed with them, I'd like taped them all to the walls. There was like, literally 1,000 cockroaches taped to the wall of my fucking room.
Nice.
And the lads come in and they're like, "What have you done?" I was like, "Listen, they're torturing me, so I'm just torturing them. Eye for an eye, tape for a tape. It tugs on my lip, I tape it to the wall straight up. There's no questions asked. Like, I need to sleep in peace." So yeah, I've been to some horrible places, man. But part of the
I
job.
couldn't imagine that, to be honest. That would be pretty nasty. My other two ant colonies. First, the second one would probably be honeypots, just because they're awesome.
Yeah, I just wish I could make a colony survive, man. I couldn't even bring them up as like that as an answer, because it's like, oh, I feel like I failed the species so much. I've tried, I just can't get it right, man.
Yeah, they are really hard. I didn't even bother getting the proper ones. I got European ones because they're so much easier.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about getting that right thing, that right queen, that right feeding regime. I
Yeah.
think for me, I really struggle with that sort of feeding regime, because it's like if you overfeed them, you can damage the queen because her
Yeah.
gasset just keeps swelling. If you underfeed them, then they just don't grow. So it's just really difficult to sort of get that regime in place and just
Yeah.
sort of like keep it going. So
Yeah, definitely. And then the last one I'm going to say is Canterbury Diversa, strictly because I love the size of their super majors. Let's be honest, they're an awesome species.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carabara, outright, I'd say Carabara, definitely one of my favorites. Like, the thing is, yeah, when it comes to insanity, they are what I like to call measurable insanity, as in you can deal with them. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they grow big. Yeah, they are just crazy little critters,
Yeah.
but they're really epic to watch. They're fun to keep, and they don't sting. So if they do break out, it's just like they've got these tiny little minor workers that you can just like hoover up with a USB hoover and dump them back in. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like the end of the world, like when Solenopsis get out and you start
Yeah.
literally hearing the four horsemen of the apocalypse and some theme tune going on where it's like, it's like yeah, the devil's here, quick. You know what I mean? Those little demons running around going, "I will kill you."
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not unmeasurable insanity. It's measurable insanity.
Yeah.
It's,
No, that's
controlling
a good way of
done.
putting that. They are crazy once they get to higher numbers, though. Diversa.
But that's when they get really fun as well, man, and they start forming their trails and they start making their craziness. They're
Yeah.
crazy engineers, like they really are. Like I've seen them build bridges and all
Yeah.
sorts of like they're quite epic little things, man.
Yeah, see, Solenopsis are really well known for building bridges and barges and things like that, but I think a lot of ants do that.
Yeah, I think it's like a natural thing, but it's just nice to see a colony on an industrial size because
Yeah.
it's very not every, like if you take like Lazius, yeah, they get to an epic size, but they're not like industrial like Carabara when it comes to like creating their nest or anything. Like they will literally, they'll just create like crazy designs. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree with that. Right, so it is just about 11:45 midnight. If anyone has any last comments or questions, please do chuck them in the chat now. Otherwise, we will probably be calling it a night before long. Well, again, massive thank you for coming on, JB. You're an absolute star.
No, thank you for having me, man, and I really appreciate you checking in and giving me the opportunity to jump on. It was nice to get sort of a little bit of time with the community and catch up
Yeah.
with everyone and find out what's been going on, because yeah, just everything on my side has been absolutely insane. I barely have time with my kids at the moment, let alone the ants. So it's like, it's nice to find a bit of normality again.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's great to have you back in the community, even if it's only for a night.
Yeah, well, I do try to jump in a bit more. I mean, juggling so much, like when I've been away and that, it's been a bit of an insane run. Like I was out in Saudi for a bit, and then I was traveling sort of around Europe, and then I was over in Northern Ireland, and then everywhere here. And it's
Everywhere.
kind of like I just didn't have any opportunity whatsoever to do anything. I did got about, I don't know, a minute and a half worth of footage of ants while I was out in Saudi Arabia. So
Right, yeah.
I might try and throw that into. I know I put up snippets onto my Instagram and that, but I might try and throw that into a video. I mean, it's not amazing footage or anything because I was on duty at the time, but I found 5 minutes to try and record a few nests. So.
Yeah. Well, I would probably be doing the same. In fact, I do the same when I'm on my break at work. I'm like, right, where's an ant? Well, what can I see?
Yeah.
We've got one last question here somewhere. Yeah. What do we think of white-tongue nests?
Honestly,
Yeah. Go on.
I think they're a bit overrated, man. They're very difficult to maintain. The humidity levels, or at least personally, this is my experience. Like, you make them, you hydrate them, and it won't be too long before that all dries out and completely
Yeah.
dissipates, and it's not retained in the nest. And I think that because it's such a sharp up and down, I think some species really struggle with that. So while I would say they're good for certain species and certain species will thrive in them, and I'm not going to say that no species will ever thrive in them and they're not great. But I definitely think they're just a bit overrated, and I think they're just real struggle to maintain the environment, the correct environment. At least personally, that's what I'd say, is that it's very up and down from my experience of no matter what I've done and no matter what solution I've tried to add and no matter how many times I've hydrated it. I find as well when you're heating them, sometimes they seem to sort of absorb the heat really well, and that again can cause problems because it just creates a little oven inside the nest. So yeah, I've definitely cooked a couple of species, not meaning to. But yeah, I don't know. I think yeah, it's just hard to say. I just think personally that I'd say that they're a bit overrated. They do have their purpose, and I think their better use is like in a sort of like where they're used as well as something else. So like if it's just used as an option or it's just used as part of the material in the nest, and maybe you have other options in the nest, I think that could work.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a white-tongue nest that has been sat on my shelf for probably about 8 months. And I keep going, I get a colony and I'm like, right, what nest should I use? Going through all the different ones. I pick it up every time I look at it and like, nah, not today. And I just haven't had that, like you say, I haven't felt like it's the right ants for that colony because it's just not one I trust.
Yeah.
What about Ants Australia, Whitong? He said he has fixed most of those problems. I haven't used Ants, or I'm guessing that's Australia, AUS.
Yeah.
I haven't used them before.
I can't see how he would have fixed the problems completely, unless sort of I don't know, again, unless there's a different mix of materials, because you can't change the inherent problems with the material itself.
Yeah.
Like it's great for certain stuff, and like don't get me wrong, like it's very, very good for aerating your nest. Like it's one that breathes so that your ants will always be able to breathe, and that can be a problem in sort of like acrylic nests or in other nests, so it has its pros and it has its cons. But for me, I haven't had much success just using Etong nests. I find unless it's a species that really likes an arid environment and is sort of very sort of hardy, then delicate species, or even species like everyone said to me, that Noda would be able to survive happily in Etong, and I've never managed to make a colony survive in Etong.
Wow.
So
yeah, no, I think I agree with that. Like it has its purpose, but very few.
yeah. I mean, it's just one of them ones. I think I don't know how you could address the issue, but I definitely think that like the material itself just comes with some issues that can't be negated, and I think one of the biggest ones is how quickly it dissipates or wicks away the moisture which you need for your humidity. And it does because it aerates, it dries out really fast, so like it's really hard to keep it constantly hydrated. And I think that's one of the things that everyone needs to look at in the design when they're designing them, is they genuinely need a massive water reservoir just to support the fact that it's going to lose that hydration quickly.
Which like you say, it's one thing after another with it. You're going to fix one problem while starting another.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem. You create a massive, hydration chamber, and next thing you know, it's too humid, and you've got the opposite problem,
Mold
and then
issues.
it goes mold. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's just very. It's just one of them ones. It's quite a temperamental material. I think it was kind of like one of them gamble ones. I really like it. I like the way it looks. I like the way you can build it. It's a very clean, tidy, nice looking nest. Like I like the perks, the pros that come with it, but I just haven't found a way personally to deal with the cons.
Yeah. I think no, I've completely forgot what I was going to say. Doesn't matter.
It does happen, man. It does happen. It'll come back to you in 5 minutes, and you'll be like, "Oh, that was it."
Yeah, it'll be too late by then, won't matter. Oh well. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I think the technology has sort of moved on. Like they were great like a few years back, but technology-wise, like in the ant keeping hobby, we're coming out with much better nests now, much better formicariums and outworld. You know, the technology's moved on
Yeah, but
from
the,
everything.
the way to build and design stuff, with computer aided
Yeah,
design and technology like 3D printing, the various machines that cut stuff out, laser cutting, that's opened up like a mass amount of sort of materials that can be used,
yeah,
especially if you look at 3D printing, where like, it's not just like PVC and stuff that you can print in, like you can print in all sorts of crazy materials that you could actually print in cement if you've got a certain type, or you could print in like a version of cement, so you could actually
yeah.
print in Etong really, and you never know what that could solve, or what that could help, or maybe if you did a better mix, or it was more of a plaster mix, then because basically all Etong is like plaster with like bubbles in it.
Yes, yeah. Which is really easy to make. I expect. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's just the same thing, but you just add like carbonated water to it, or
Okay, yeah. So
there's
just
some kind of carbonation in it that
yeah,
fizzes it up. So once it sets, it just aerates. Like,
makes sense. Oh well. Right. Well, I'm gonna start closing down the show now. So it was absolutely amazing having you on. Thank you so much, JB.
no worries, man. Cheers for having me, and it's been a pleasure talking to you and catching up with everyone else. Thank you so much for popping in to say hello as well.
No, definitely, and you're always welcome back anytime, of course.
Appreciate it, man.
Right, but
And
I'm going to
likewise,
let you go for now.
go ahead.
Right, thank you very much, buddy. We'll see you again soon.
Take care, man.
And you. Bye.
Bye.
And there we are, everybody. That is the end of the show. Thank you very much for staying around till basically midnight. That's quite a long show tonight. It's been great fun as always. It's been brilliant fun. I'm really sorry to All Ants UK. He came on and then we spoke for like 5 minutes and then he didn't get another say. But I'm sure he'll come back on very soon and we'll talk about all his new ants because we all want to hear about that. But it's been absolutely awesome having JB on. As we said earlier, he's been so busy with work and everything. Oh, wow, we've just gone into nighttime mode. He's been so busy with work and everything that he's just not been able to do much in the ant community. So it's a real honour and a pleasure to have him join in tonight. And it's been amazing. And I hope you've all enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed the quiz. I hope I answered as many questions as I could for you with my impromptu interview of JB. I didn't have anything written down, believe it or not. But yeah, brilliant. Massive shout out to our sponsors of the show, Answer Us, for sponsoring us and making us an awesome show. And a massive thank you to my Patreon supporters as well, Kevin Rogerson, Jason Walker, and Katrina. Massive, massive thank you, Katrina, for your support. And if anyone else wants to show their support, you're more than welcome to check it out on Patreon. It's just £3 a month, and it just helps. All money goes into the stream, basically improving the technology and stuff behind it. Anything else that I need to say? If you haven't yet, go grab a ticket to the ant exhibition, send me a message, and you can get your £5 discount code to bring the ticket down to just £10. I've actually sold quite a lot of tickets in this last week, so it's going well. Make sure you don't miss out on yours, I expect, or I hope. But yeah, I'm going to leave you all now. I love you all so much. Thank you massively for joining in tonight, being amazing, showing your support. And of course, I expect you are all subscribed to the Colonialist, but if you haven't already, please do drop him a sub and show your big love and support his way. But as always from me, I'll see you again soon, Ant fans. Thank you for another amazing night. Happy Easter.